Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first Avocado GamesCast recorded in 2019. Woo! We've got a lot to talk about today. First off, what we played over the holidays. We're also going to talk about AGDQ, the speedrunning marathon that's going on right now. Well, not right now when you're hearing it, but, it's right now when we're recording it. We're also going to be talking about big moves from Bungie. And on top of that, our predictions for 2019. So it's going to be a packed episode of the Avocado Gamescast. My name is Merve, and joining me, he recently entered into a Mario Tennis cosplay contest as the Ball. It's Mr. Glitch.
It's me, Mr. Glitch.
Hidetaka Miyazaki blocked him on Twitter for repeatedly asking when Bloodborne would receive swimsuit DLC. It's Ben.
Morning.
And he's the only Covenant grunt who never flees in terror. Too bad his needler's all out of ammo. It's the Kappa.
Hey, what's up, guys?
So, how are you guys doing?
Good.
And Mr. Glitch, you're Italian now, apparently?
I'm Italian. I'm a stereotype.
Oh god, this is gonna get us banned from iTunes.
I'm sorry, iTunes.
Alright. It's fine. iTunes, I'm surprised iTunes has kept us up for as long as they have, considering how much we talk about touching Birdo in weird places and attacking.
Well, you guys talk about it. I'm just
butts.
too terrified.
I mean, I think Birdo's adorable, but that's just me.
Yeah, Birdo is a wide awake nightmare. I'm sorry.
I feel like you said that exact same sentence on this podcast before.
It's because Birdo is a wide awake nightmare, and I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Ugh.
It's cool. I if somebody wants to send me a Birdo plushie, I'd be super grateful. So, all right, what have you guys been playing lately, or what do you guys play over the winter holidays?
I'll start out.
Yeah, Kappa, what did you play?
I did. I put a bunch of Total War Warhammer 2, which is just an unfortunate title because spitting that thing out is like a tongue twister every time. But I think they should just call it Total Warhammer 2. You just streamline it.
Exactly. That's what I've been saying. That's what I call it.
It's really fun, and it's probably the perfect match of genre and property when you get to the Total War games that have been going on for a while and Warhammer. Just a very convenient marriage of both properties really working well together. I've enjoyed what I've been playing. It's hard though because you with so many different play types and civilization or whatever you want to call them types, it can feel like some are definitely like much better for certain phases of the game, like a lot more so than say like in Shogun or Medieval or Rome, where usually you have you all kind of shine around the same time. This game, there's definitely early and late game civilizations, much more like Civilization would be, right? So sometimes you can be playing for a long time and not really be realizing the true power of your faction, which isn't a bad thing. It's just you have to kind of plan a little bit more for the long game rather than just what you can get when you can get it, like some of the other civilizations can do. I did have Warhammer 1, so I'm able to unlock the Mortal Empires, I think it's called, the campaign, which is a really cool thing they did. So it's kind of like they look at Warhammer 2 as almost like a faction pack, like a giant faction pack. And if you had one, you can just basically plug and play with different lords and leaders and stuff like that. So that's kind of a nice little thing that they could do rather than just dropping everything out of it. But some games when I play, I can say, okay, this group, this faction, I'm just going for like what they call a short campaign victory. In other words, just kind of beating out your neighbors and then maybe doing a couple little goals here and there. Whereas other ones, I'm like, okay, I'm not even going to be able to really ramp up my power until late game. So I've got to start looking at what the long-term victory conditions are. A couple really fiddly mechanics, Confederation, which is, it used to be vassal states in other games, where you basically force people into your empire by being so much more powerful than them.
So you become like this big umbrella faction? Is that the idea?
Yeah, exactly. You could only confederate your same race. So like you can't confederate dwarves if you're the humans, for example.
Okay.
But there's also this weird thing that goes on where if you're so powerful that you outpower other factions, they kind of look at it like, say, oh, well, the humans are more powerful than the dwarves, so we don't have any need to be more confederate with you, even though it's me, not you, that's powerful. Does that make sense? So, but they kind of look at the race's power, not the individual faction power. So it can be kind of annoying late game to try to get them to fall in line in Confederate. And you don't want to declare war on them because there's such a big warmongering penalty with your own races. So I tend not to do that unless I absolutely have to. But that mechanic aside, there's lots of individual mechanics with individual factions that are really, really, really weird. Norska plays like a whole different game. The Skaven, same thing. I mean, they're like a sub-faction of rat men that just kind of exist in their own world, and God help anybody who tries to fight on their territory because you just dominate them. But it's a very defensive faction. It's very hard to take anything, but it's very, very, very hard for anybody to take it from you as well. So really enjoyed.
So you kind of have to like wear your opponents down if you pick a more defensive faction.
Yeah, so what Warhammer does that maybe the other Total Warhammer or Total War games do is certain civilizations, vampires, undead, Skaven, and Chaos, they kind of put out like this taint in the land. And
So
think of it like... Go ahead.
So like the Zerg.
Yeah, kind of. So it's like a shadow public order debuff. So like if you can keep spreading your Skaven taint into lands, you have an easier, harder time taking it over long term. It also lets you do certain things. Like if you have a very high Skaven taint in an area, you can basically summon armies for free during the fight.
Even taint.
Yeah. It's a lot
That's
more.
the episode title.
Yeah. It's easier to figure out when it comes to like the vampires. That's a lot more obvious, right? Like if armies move through vampire infested lands, they just suffer attrition. I'm guessing, as you know, vampires eat them or whatever. But the way they handle it is kind of hit and miss. It makes sense for the Skaven, but you have to basically spread it in order for it to even be worth it. Whereas when you look at like Chaos, you can just basically passively sit there and corrupt everyone around you and start more or less causing riots in cities that you're nowhere even near just by spreading chaos.
That sounds like fun.
It is fun.
Those guys.
Yeah. I mean,
super confusing. I'm so bad at real-time strategy games.
lots of DLC. Some are better than others. It's kind of confusing what you're buying with what pack and things like that as well. But there's a mod that just basically unlocks everything. So if you want to give that a shot, and it's kind of like a demo version of it because you don't get the unique quests and weapons and heroes. You just kind of get to play as the faction since that's already in the game code. And I guess they don't care that mod unlocks it. So if you just really want to see what wood elves play like before buying the pack, you can.
Okay. So they've got that option like available to you, which is nice. Glitch, what have you been playing?
Oh, a whole lot of Red Dead Redemption 2, but we've already talked way too much about that. Other than that, I picked up a Shantae Half Genie Hero.
Ooh, nice.
I always get these mixed up. That's the latest one? Hey, with the not sprite, like with the not pixel graphics.
Yeah, it's kind of it's more of an anime style.
Like the vector art, yeah.
Yeah, vector art, high def, as opposed to like the I forget the previous one, the one that came before it.
Pirate's Curse.
Three of them. There's Shantae,
Something like that, yeah.
Shantae and the Pirate's Curse, Shantae and fuck, what's the second one called?
Shantae and fuck all, I don't know.
Shantae and fuck. I would definitely play that. I can.
Shantae
Do
and
not
fuck
search that
the
on the
cops.
internet.
Risky's Revenge. Pirate
That's
Queen's.
it. Risky's Revenge.
That's it, yeah.
Pirate's
was
Curse is still my favorite, I reckon.
Yeah, that was the DSi one, wasn't it?
Yeah, DSiWare.
Yeah.
That's why all the dungeons have the exact same like background setting. It's really short.
Yep. That's where I got into the series. I never played the Game Boy Advance one because it's $2,000.
Oh lord.
Fucking on everything though.
Yeah, I mean,
It's like $10 on PC. So
yeah, you can emulate it and all that stuff.
Wait, no, the Game Boy Advance one got cancelled. It never came out.
Oh, sorry, the Game Boy Color.
Oh yeah, I played that on fucking emulator.
Yeah.
It's not good. Don't bother.
Okay.
Good to know. So what are you enjoying about Half Genie Hero?
Half Genie Hero. So I mean, in terms of a just a straight, fun, just kind of lighthearted platformer, run and jump platformer, it pretty much knocks that out of the park. It's a beautiful game, great music. Her little transformative, her basically her move set is to become different types of creatures.
The little genie dances.
Right, she does her little genie dances, and depending on what, it's essentially a Metroid style game where additional levels and additional areas within levels are unlocked by gaining dances, which allow you to transform into different types of critters.
I haven't touched any of the DLC for that yet, have you?
Not yet. I haven't finished the story yet.
Risky's campaign and everything. Been meaning to try that.
Yeah, I haven't finished the story yet. I don't think I've got much left. Probably another few hours. I took my sweet time.
That's good. I don't feel like we take our time with games anymore. I just tend to rush through them in a few days, unless they're like JRPGs, in which case they occupy my time for months on end. So yeah, sounds like
it's a game. Well, I mean, the Shantae series in general generally encourages you to blaze through it as quickly as possible because there's usually different Metroid-y style endings for your character depending on how long it takes you to complete the campaign. I'm gonna get the.
Think about how much those developers are obsessed with dancing, because Shantae has the dancing is the main mechanic in it, right? To transform, you do your teleport dance, and your heel dance, and all that shit. And then, because wasn't it dudes from that split off and made Yacht Club and did Shovel Knight? And those games always have really elaborate dance sequences in them.
The only thing I can remember in Shovel Knight is when you're in the basement of that inn thing, and a barmaid does an elaborate dance.
Yeah, she does a dance. The Truffle King, the big fish apple dude.
Oh yeah.
That huge elaborate dance. Then in the Plague Knight one, the whole climax of the game is learning to dance. Then in the who's the other one? The Shadow Knight or
Spectre
Knight. Yeah, Spectre Knight. He has a whole thing where after you reunite the skeletons, there's a minute-long dance sequence between them. They're fucking obsessed with dances.
I mean, dancing should be a feature of more video games.
Oh, in the Plague Knight one, when you hold down, he just starts dancing. You get that as an ability that you unlock in the game.
That sounds adorable.
Does it serve any gameplay purpose?
No, but it's the climax of the basis of the plot climax is his learning to dance.
And this helps him defeat monsters. How?
No, because the whole point of Spectre Knight is he's trying to make this potion which will make this girl that he has a crush on like him.
Huh.
To impress her and everything, and at the end she already had a crush on him anyway, and it's the fact that they can dance together. It's super cute. That game's weirdly adorable.
I wish I had more to say about that, other than, Ben, what have you been playing?
I've been playing Omen Sight on the Switch. Have any of you heard of that?
I have not, but now a whole bunch of people will have heard of it, with you mentioning it.
Have you ever played a game and you just it's so fucking clever, just the core idea of it? Okay, so basically it's a beat 'em up, right? A kind of almost character action-y, God of War kind of. But it's an indie game, so there's only actually 4 levels in the game, which would be really short normally. But what they do is basically the the plot of the game is you're this like god thing trying to solve a murder because this priestess got murdered and unlocked a giant beast that destroys the world. So you go back in time to the beginning of the last day of the like kind of like Majora's Mask style, and you live out that last day with a specific character, and then the world ends and you go back and do it again. But every time you go back and do it with a different character, and so like you'll go through the same levels but with a different character on like a different side of this war. So like you go back and do this level with like this cat lady who's like a general in an army fighting these rat people, and so you go and like fight all the rat people and all that kind of stuff, and then you go back and do the day again but with the rat people's leader, so you're seeing the same level but from a different perspective. And as you go on, you learn more information, which then you can use to tell the characters more information to make them do different things in the levels and get more information again. So it's essentially just replaying the same 4 levels again and again, but narratively and like mechanically it does enough to make that feel fresh and interesting every time.
So it's kind of like the love child of Nier Automata and the Sexy Brutale?
I haven't played the Sexy Brutale, so I'm going to say with no context, yes, exactly that.
Or that one Star Trek Next Generation episode where they accidentally keep running into Kelsey Grammer's starship and blowing up, and then they get stuck in a time loop.
Yeah,
like
so
that, yes.
the Sexy Brutale is a murder mystery game where you are trying to like save people from getting murdered, and you keep rewinding time to figure out how these people died. But it's more of a puzzle game. And this sounds like it incorporates that kind of element without sort of the
very much like
puzzle
that,
features.
actually.
Okay.
It's really fun, really clever. The writing's great. The art style is like this very like simple, cartoony. Everyone's a furry like art style, and it looks amazing. Don't get it on the Switch though. Like I'm pretty sure it's on Steam as well. Get it on that because the Switch version does not run well. Like frame rate issues, loading times are really long. The resolution's like it's the first time I've played on the Switch where like noticeably like wow, this is really low resolution, and like it's got some issues, but a really great core game.
I just wishlisted it on Steam. So, all right.
And it has what every one of these games need, which is you get witch time when you do a perfect dodge and go into slow mode, which like basically I feel like every beat 'em up should have at this point.
I agree, and I say that as somebody who doesn't like particularly care for Bayonetta. I really like that feature of Bayonetta.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's one thing that Bayonetta really knocked out of the park in terms of gameplay.
Yeah, I feel like I want to play whenever I play Fire Bayonetta. I want to play it like I'd play Nier, and that's not how Bayonetta is meant to be played, so I just get frustrated. But, you know, it is what it is.
Wait, how do you mean play it like you play Nier?
I want to basically just use the guns all the time.
Oh god. Wow, yeah, that's...
Which is not
that's
what the
way
game
you
is set up to
should
do.
be doing it all.
Yeah,
Bayonetta is also really dependent on you doing the combos the way it wants you to do the combos in a way. I don't know if that makes sense. Like
The timing on some of them, the frame windows are way too narrow. For some
yeah,
of them.
exactly. Like Devil May Cry always has that. What do they call that thing in Devil May Cry where you can chain your combos even if you like don't do the exact correct follow up? Whereas Bayonetta it feels very like you have to do exactly what it wants you to.
Yeah, if you don't pull a combo off properly in Bayonetta, she just sort of stops.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas in like there's like always like it seems like Devil May Cry and some of those other games give you a little bit of
Devil May
like
Cry
okay,
has this thing where like if you pull a combo off perfectly, you do one combo. You don't do it perfectly, you do a different combo.
yeah, but
do
you still
Do
do
something.
something though. Like in Bayonetta, it's like okay, well I'll
You
just
guys are saying this, but Bayonetta's the best game ever made, so fuck it.
All right. What I did actually play, I didn't actually play Bayonetta over the winter break. What I did play was this. I actually played a little bit of it back in December, but I haven't picked it up since then.
Well, Bayonetta 2 is a Christmas game.
Okay. Well, I'll get around to it once I beat the first Bayonetta. Then what I did actually play over the winter break was this puzzle platformer called, I want to say Gris, Gris. I want to say it like
Gris.
I want to say it all French like gris, but I don't think they want me to pronounce it like the French word gray. So I could call it Gris or Gris, or if you guys have any other ideas about how I should pronounce it, then you can correct me. So it's a
This is
really,
that developer.
Well, how would you say it in
Yeah.
Spanish? Is there a Spanish developer?
I
I
don't
think
know
it stands
Spanish.
for something though. I think GRIS stands for something, right? Because isn't it? At least when I've seen it, it's been.
All
The
caps.
character's name.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay.
So, like- Guar then.
Okay. I mean, we could.
Guar, like the heavy metal band.
Yep.
Okay, cool. The game's called Guar now. It's about, like, fuck, what are they, like, loser barbarian space pirates?
I mean, I think it's pronounced.
Gris.
It's pronounced Gris according to Google Translate. So, if they're Spanish, it's Gris, which means gray, like it does in French. But in French, it's pronounced Gris. Anyway, so it's a really beautiful puzzle platformer, which has got the sort of, it's like
Maybe
a,
the best looking game I've ever played.
yeah, it's like imagine somebody did a bunch of like I wouldn't say ballpoint pen, but like ink pen drawings, and then watercolored them and animated it very beautifully. That's what it looks like. And like as far as gameplay goes, it's pretty good. It gets a little obtuse at times, but it keeps you go through I think 4 segments, and each time it adds a new mechanic. Like one mechanic it adds, it gives you a double jump, then it gives you the ability to make yourself super heavy. At another point, it gives you.
Okay, you need to go back on the super heavy thing, because that's one of the most hilarious animations where she turns into a giant cement block with like little feet and a head sticking out the top, but it's like this beautiful, gorgeous animation of her awkwardly walking as this giant block, and it's hilarious.
That is true. That's it. I did enjoy the first time I saw that. So yeah, you kind of go through these. I don't want to say it's like a Metroidvania, but you kind of go through these puzzle platformer, very large levels and these very lush, well-drawn environments. There's even one level where you swim a lot. So if you don't like underwater levels, a quarter of this game is not for you. But they did a pretty good job with it.
It's just such a Merve game. If there's ever been a Merve game, I'm just looking at this. This is like one I'll never even try, and it looks like it was designed for you.
It was my 10th favorite game of 2018.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. It actually knocked. So, what the official list that I put up on the Avocado, I put that up at near the start of December, and then I finished 2 more games. So that list didn't change except for Forgotten Anne, which is now my number 12 spot. My number 11 spot is given to Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory, and the number 10 spot goes to Gris. Actually, by the way, I finished that Digimon Story game on December 31st. Like, I started it back in late January, and I finished it in the afternoon on December 31st. So, I
One
spent
thing I'll say about-
over 11 months on that game.
How are we saying it? Gris?
Gris.
Yeah.
Gris.
One thing we'll say about Gristle, what are you playing it on?
I played it on
Like PC?
Switch.
Switch? Did you try it on handheld?
I only played it in handheld mode. I never even docked it.
I started trying to play it because I haven't beaten it yet. I just got up to you know the bit where you're in the desert and it blows and you like have to do the heavy thing. I just got past that bit. But when I was playing it on handheld, I couldn't fucking see anything because the camera zooms out really far.
Yeah.
So it's hard to see shit on a very small screen. Like playing it on TV was fine. Playing it on a handheld, it's just like I couldn't actually play it properly on the handheld because the camera zooms out too much to show like this aesthetic minimalism design that it uses, and which is gorgeous, but fucking not great on a handheld.
Yeah, I had that same problem with the missing on Switch, that the camera would zoom out too far for handheld mode, but I was too lazy. I normally play my Switch in bed before going to sleep, so I was too lazy to get up and then go to the TV and put it in there and play. So I was just like, I'll put up with it. In fact, I think I finished Gris in a hotel room, so I didn't have my Switch dock with me
Yeah.
at that time.
I got that problem with the version of Smash Brothers or Smash Brothers Ultimate for the Switch when you're playing that undocked and there's 8 zillion different characters on the
I have
screen at
that
once.
fucking problem playing it on the TV. Jesus Christ.
Oh, by the way, I
That
lied. It
is
was
chaotic.
yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way, I lied. It was the missing that I finished in a hotel room. Gris I finished at home. Anyway, yeah, Super
Well,
Smash
I don't
Bros.
know whether
is
we
good.
can trust anything else you say at the end of the
It's one
I don't
big
even know
lie.
if your name really is Merve.
day. Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely not Merve because
Merv, your house of cards is crashing down around you now.
So, this actually relates to video games tangentially. So, around the time that I first got my Steam account, I started getting these messages in Turkish from like thirsty dudes on Steam, and I was like, "What the hell is going on?" And then I looked it up, and I realized that Merve is a Turkish girl's name. So, like, thirsty Turkish dudes on Steam were just trying to hit on me. But like
So you were
nobody
just
else.
getting whatever the Turkish equivalent of ASL.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what was happening. It still happens. Like every 5 or 6 months, some random Turkish dude will try to add me as a friend on Steam.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but it's like Merve is not like a name in any other language, so it's only Turks.
Get them to buy you shit off your wish list.
Pardon me?
Get them to buy you stuff off your wish list.
Yeah, milk it.
Oh, I should. Oh, okay.
Like, catfish those motherfuckers.
Oh God, that's so cruel, but that's so many possibilities. So if you speak Turkish and you would like to buy me Parkitect or Valkyria Chronicles 4, I would greatly appreciate it. I swear that I am a hot Turkish single. All right, so that's what we've been playing. That's what we played over the holidays. So moving on, right now, AGDQ, Awesome Games Done Quick 2019 is happening. We're just going to mention briefly what's been going on with that. Every year, it's an annual speedrunning charity marathon. It's a week long, raises money for the Prevent Cancer Foundation, so it's a great cause. Have you guys been tuning in at all or watching any of the archived runs?
Yeah, I watch some of the archived runs. That's kind of usually how I watch it. For something
Yeah,
about it.
watch a YouTube, like, after they upload.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Fucking
think
hurry
it's
up and
just,
put the Mega Man block up.
Pardon me, what about the Mega Man block?
Fucking hurry up and put it up on YouTube. I want to watch the Mega Man DOS run.
Yo, okay, go to reddit.com/speedrun. They have all the VODs with the timestamps for the Twitch archive.
Oh, cool.
So you can
Well,
watch those.
I'm gonna cancel this podcast then. Bye.
All right, fuck off, Ben. See you later. Yeah, so I've only watched a couple because I spent 4 hours watching the Nier Automata speedrun, which was pretty entertaining. It's actually a game that's pretty fun to watch speedrun because they break it just enough that they're actually exploiting glitches, but not so much that you can't understand what's going on. It's not like watching a Portal run, which, like, what the hell's going on anytime you see one of those?
Yeah.
So that was a fun one. They did like all the way to ending E. So they played the entire game, which is nuts. It's a real marathon. Another one which I watched, they actually, spoiler alert, managed to set the world record here. It was a co-op N++ run. For those of you who don't know, N++ is one of the original Masocore platformers. It's very minimalist, has this really cool movement where you can stick to a wall and kind of slide down it, and walls essentially become platforms. So it did that before Super Meat Boy did. Yeah, it's a...
Just want to point out, there was Massacre before there was N.
Yeah.
Because N was
that's true.
originally a fucking Newgrounds Flash game.
Yeah, way back in the day.
What was the original one though? The dude that made Celeste. His like old games were like the original Massacre ones. They're fucking exactly what Super Meat Boy rips off. You look at his old games and he plays like this red square dude. It's like, wow, I can see where Meat Boy came from.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, it's a relatively old genre. I'd say N was sort of kind of the one that brought it to the mainstream.
probably the earliest ones would be the Keizo Mario hacks, wouldn't
Yeah,
they?
Kaizo Mario hacks are probably like where it came from, but didn't have like that that common feature of quick death, quick reload kind of thing,
Yeah.
which is why N kind of became so popular because you die and just
Also,
right
N
back
was
into it
fucking
right away.
released on everything.
Yeah, I mean it began life as a browser game, then a free Flash download. I think I still have the free version lying somewhere on my
I have it on
hard
my
drive.
360 somewhere.
Yeah, I actually made custom levels for I used to make custom levels for the original N, but now they have the paid N++ version. Anyway, so they did this they have co-op levels for N++ now, and they're super neat and also super difficult. And
Co-op speedruns are the most insane thing in the world to me.
yeah,
Like,
so
having two people that can both perform at that level in sync with each other. Like, it's just... That's fucking crazy.
not only that, they set the world record at AGDQ. So, congrats to, I think their names are...
A&D4H and Crank Dude.
Yeah, those guys. Congrats to them. Any other runs you guys checked out that were cool?
Have you guys watched the Sonic 1 run?
No. What's that all about?
That dude might be my favorite runner that I've ever seen. He's, like, got this really thick, like, Chicago accent. You know how they always have, like, this is really hard, like, can I have some quiet time and everything? He's like, no, if I'm doing something really hard, get really fucking loud for me. And then he's doing shit that he's literally the only person on Earth other than Tazbot that can do.
The only one I saw was one that I can't believe they even tried, was a Divinity Original Sin 2 run that the guy quit.
No. Oh yeah, I remember what happened. Basically, what the guy needed a single item
Oh, it was a
to
barrel.
progress to the end. Yeah, like
Yeah.
a poison gas barrel.
Yeah.
And he ran out of them, and he didn't have a safety save, so he had to
Yeah.
abandon the run, which is
I-
unfortunate.
I feel bad for it, but I mean, that's, I don't know. Like, I guess the thing in speedrunning is any game can be speed ran, I guess. You know what I mean? But it just seems so, like, antithetical to everything that Divinity is about, to be like...
The one I did tune into for a little bit was the 9.5 fucking hour Final Fantasy 9 run.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So I guess quick is a relative.
Yeah.
So do they
Exactly.
One
tag
thing
team on it so that people can like urinate?
One thing
Yeah.
I didn't see, but I was desperate to know how they did. Does he have disc changing tech that he has to do? Like, how quickly does he get up to change the discs out?
Oh, that's in... I didn't even think about that.
Do they
I'm
run this on
sure-
original hardware?
Don't
Some
they
of them
always?
do.
In some cases, yeah.
I think emulation's been the last couple ones they've had emulation at last couple, as long as it doesn't change the game, right?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes if an emulator changes a little bit, it becomes a different category.
Yeah, it's like just a separate category.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's what I've seen a few times.
they slice these categories pretty thinly, and they get super specific about which
So
glitches
now
you
that
can
I
and
think
can't
about
exploit.
it, fucking Final Fantasy IX's been re-released a bunch, hasn't it? You could have been playing. Actually, no, because this definitely wasn't a HD version. This was like fucking pixelated as all shit, so would have been the original, I guess. Man, I'm gonna have to go watch the VOD for that, see how he changes discs.
Yeah, what the Divinity 1-2 was also kind of just, I don't know. I mean, it sucks the guy had to quit. I mean, I wish he would have completed it all, but like, it's just not everything I think meets that definition of a game that needs to be speedrun. That game is very. I mean, if you're only doing the core quest and not doing all the stuff with companions, are probably picking up just the minimum of stuff. It's just why, it's not. I guess because you can, but
Yeah,
feels like
I think the fact that a game is less speedrunnable makes people want to speedrun it more. Like, oh, you can't speedrun this game. Fucking watch me.
but there's so many variables, I guess is what I'm getting at. You know what I mean? Like in Mario or like classic platformers, it's like, okay, if I hit this jump perfectly, it gives me an extra tenth of a second. Whereas in, like an RPG, it's like, well, 100%, but I play triple triad. You know what I mean? Or like stuff like that. Like it's just, I don't know. Like there's
Did you
always
guys
so
ever
many.
watch the Final Fantasy VII run, I think it was? Where it's like about counting how many steps you do to manipulate the random battles. Like that
no.
shit blows my like. They were counting exactly how many steps like Cloud would take in the like levels to make sure the random battles happened when they wanted them to and everything.
That's some fucking weird shit, but I'm glad somebody's figured it out.
It was still like a 5-hour, 6-hour run or something. Like fuck.
I just don't know how people spend that much time doing that shit. Like, I could never... I'd never have the patience. I mean, I'd also have to wear a diaper if I had to do some of these runs, you know.
Awesome games done with a catheter.
Yeah. And one of those poop receptacles? I don't know what they're called.
I think they're called toilets.
That's... Why do you need the catheter? Okay, I think we're overthinking this.
Just got a hole in the bottom of the chair and put a bucket underneath it.
That's why you can only ever see the top half of the runner, right?
You guys
never see their legs.
About to exploit a market I didn't even think about. Now we need to start thinking about speedrunner toilet chairs. There's money to be made here, boys.
Oh God, I really don't want to make money that way. Speaking of money, Bungie and Activision split, and it probably had something to do with money.
Oh boy.
Well, okay, I shouldn't say that they split because Activision never owned Bungie, but Bungie and Activision ended their 10-year
publishing
partnership.
Yeah,
2 years early.
Yep. That's, I think, the biggest part of this story. If I had to say what I think personally is the biggest part of the story, is it's all bad news for Activision. Now, there's a lot of people who are saying this is probably actually because Activision didn't want Bungie around because they think it's a sinking ship. But I think they could think that and not get rid of him 2 years early. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Just in my opinion, I'm guessing what happened here is Bungie wanted the independence and was willing to pay a lot of money, I'm guessing, to get out of that contract 2 years early, right?
To be fair, we don't. It was just like sold to the press as a 10-year partnership. We don't exactly know what the terms were or what penalties there would be. So it might be like an 8-year or 9-year partnership, and they're just rounding up.
Sure, but I mean, that's kind of weird, right? I mean, like,
yeah, it's a weird thing to say.
Yeah, exactly. So
I would say it's probably more what we think it is, that they're actually getting out of this 2 years early.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, not knowing the terms of whatever, I would agree with that. But yeah, I guess my main thing thinking about all these things is it's all on Bungie now. All the excuses, all the stuff that they've said or done, you know, okay, there's been always this thing in the background of all the fans of Destiny. That's, well, this is what they're making them do. I'd say the number one thing that I think everybody agrees on is Activision has been behind the current content releases that I would say have probably divided the Destiny community the most, right?
So is Destiny 2 actually doing, like, I haven't followed Destiny that much, but is Destiny 2 actually doing well, like, financially?
Yeah,
or?
It was one of the biggest selling. The expansion Forsaken was the biggest selling game of September. They don't announce because it's classified as DLC.
It's DLC, but
yeah, exactly.
So
it's not like
essentially,
Destiny's been fucking tanking and Activision like, let's get the
it's
fuck out.
doing decently well. It's just Activision thinks it could potentially
Activision
do better, but
Yeah,
it's Activision
exactly.
because they're a major publisher. They don't understand how video game sales work. They just see video games as money pumps.
Fucking insane.
Right. Like to them, it's Call of Duty and then everything else, right? Like everything else is bound to disappoint when you put it up against that juggernaut, right? Call of Duty, I think this year made more money than MCU. To put it in perspective, that's a lot of fucking money, right?
Yeah.
So Activision's
like 2018.
Yes. And the year that Avengers came out and Black Panther, and yes.
That made a fuckload of money.
Yes.
And Ant-Man and the Wasp. And Black Panther is one of the best-selling movies of all time.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can fact-check me on that, but I'm pretty sure... It might be like the Call of Duty series made more this year, but I mean that's really only one game this year, you know. But yeah, check it out. It makes shitloads of money, and that makes Activision say, well, why can't Destiny make shitloads of money? And there's been a lot of stuff that slowly crept into Destiny, like the microtransactions were always going to be there. They're cosmetic. Nobody has a problem with that. But the idea when the microtransactions really came in was that was going to be what was going to fund seasonal events, right? So seasonal events were going to get bigger and badder, and that's how we were going to basically bankroll them. And that slowly kind of started to fade away as the seasonal events kind of got less and less. and Destiny got more on a very specific release cycle, which was basically 2 small, shitty expansions, and then 1 huge, great, game-changing expansion. So in this case, it was Curse of Osiris, which sucked. Nobody liked it, hated it. Warmind, which brought some cool stuff and kind of more lore-focused and friendly in that way. And then Forsaken, which basically blew everybody's brains with how great it was, which is similar to what the Destiny 1 progression was. 2 crappy expansions, and then Taken King did the exact same thing, blew everybody's mind. So that type of content model, I guess, everybody's always said that's Activision. They want to sell the season pass. 2 small things, 1 big thing. You got to get it for the big thing, basically. What I think most Destiny folks are thinking about and hoping is that where we go from here is going to be maybe a more traditional MMO model, right? Where there's not going to be a Destiny 3. You're just going to play Destiny, right? And it's going to be maybe subscription, maybe not, but you're playing a game that you log in. It's getting constant updates.
Well, that's what everyone thought Destiny was going to be originally.
Yeah,
didn't they?
Exactly. And so
they like, we're going to support this game for 10 years, and they're like, and by support it, we mean sequels.
Yeah, and but they said 10 years of support, not 10 years of sequels. So that's kind of an important distinction. But then Activision got involved. So a lot of the community thinks, okay, good, we're reaching what we've always wanted, which is a persistent online model where you can drop in and out, maybe subscription based, maybe not, but you're not fragmenting the player base like you do now. Where if you don't have Forsaken, good luck, because you can't play with what 90% of the community is doing right now, right? Which is why they do stuff like give the base game away for free and only charge $30 for Forsaken right now.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
I missed out on that.
Yeah, I didn't, but I still haven't installed the thing yet. I'm looking at my copy of BattleNet, and Destiny 2 is just waiting for an install.
Yeah, and I think
I haven't
so
logged
it makes
into
sense.
BattleNet since I played the Destiny 2 demo.
So I think it's good news and bad news. I think for the fan, the average person, is Bungie's going to lose the whipping boy. They're not going to have old Activision to kick around anymore, right? To paraphrase, Tricky Dick.
But you can't blame a big publisher anymore if they're self-publishing.
Right.
I mean, right now it's still on Battle.net, so they can kind of blame a few things on Activision. But once they're completely extricated from it, then yeah, it's all on Bungie.
Truthfully, we probably won't see till the end of this year, which is kind of when the current roadmap of releases and stuff kind of ends. But Bungie's been doing a lot of inconsistent stuff with how they'd been in the past couple months. I don't know if you guys heard about this big puzzle that they rolled out this week. I don't know if you've been reading about it.
I remember you trying to get people to help you solve it, and it involved trees.
Yeah, so they rolled out this giant level of puzzle and basically challenged all the Destiny streamers and community and stuff to figure it out. And it was hard, really hard. They didn't finish it, so Bungie just said, never mind, we're just going to release the content that we plan to release as if you guys finished it, but we're still going to leave it in-game so you guys can try to finish it. Apparently there was some kind of bug with a line of the code that they didn't get a hint that they were supposed to get, but it was still solvable without the hint that they got. But really, really intriguing multi-step puzzle involving weird things, and if you failed, you started back at the beginning, and lots of
kind of like the secret world almost.
So what happened is there's these forges in games that are how the best weapons ever get created. And the last forge was hidden from us because it was the grave of a girl who died and was turned into a robot who knows basically all the secrets of humanity's ever had in making weapons. The minds of the greatest smiths from Norse mythology to Japanese samurais to French monarchs to just all kinds of stuff. So
to those really cool slingshots you used to get when they were made out of surgical tubing. Those things are so cool.
So we're trying to unlock basically her greatest achievement, and the way it's in layers and layers and layers of complicated symbols and things to do and shoot and figure out what shoots what with what element while you're standing where and stuff like that. It was a really interesting community event, but I think what happened is that most people were like, okay, this is a streamer thing, not like a me and you can go jump in, and the streamers some of them did something I really don't like where they made their chat subs only, kind of made it more of a look at me thing, where others were trying to get the community involved and get everybody involved, but eventually they just all kind of quit. So Bungie released the content that they were going to release anyway, and then I think just today, a streamer beat it, which means that it like all the raids in Destiny combined were beat faster than this puzzle was, to put that in perspective. So, yeah, it's kind of took them a while, but
so this is different from the kind of content that they've been releasing for Destiny 2.
Yeah,
previously.
exactly. And so that's why I was getting at. I feel like they're trying new stuff, and I think the writing's been on the wall for a while with what Forsaken has, and that's taking the story back, doing cool things with it, and making it kind of their own series, and less about what do we have to hold back to have these kind of like releases be the kind of shit that moves units, if that makes sense, which is a lot of what people who have been leaving Blizzard have been saying about Activision. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff that they've been saying is like, look, they want a WoW expansion every year. Ready or not, here it comes, you know? And, you know, they don't like how StarCraft was giving away these things, so they started making announcer packs and emote packs and all these other things that really make no sense in a StarCraft game, you know?
Yeah, it sort of makes, like, I understand it from like the esports perspective, but beyond that, like for the average player, it's useless, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like there's packs that you can buy for StarCraft that changes the cosmetics of your unit, you know, but why? You know, like it's very like the cosmetics of that game just aren't as important as they are in other games, you know. So I don't know, but anyway, I feel like this is kind of a weird thing because for a while Activision's always been kind of in the background as the shitty publisher list, you know, like you've always kind of had, you know, EA and UB and like all these other game publishers. Yeah, well, yeah, but you know, it just seems like all at once they crept up this year to kind of take the title. I think in a lot of people's eyes of like. You know, you're out there ruining what developers want to do with games for money in a very transparent way.
Really been in the... I thought they were pretty much always at the forefront. They're fucking Bobby Kotick. Remember they
Right.
fucking Guitar Hero? That whole thing? That was all them.
Yeah,
Like-
but then like EA, it's been EA for 5 years now.
So I think the Activision has always been kind of quietly, quietly shitty. Like they've been extremely shitty. They've just their shittiness is less broadcast for whatever reason.
Right. Yeah.
But with
I think probably because they're just sort of a perennial also ran to EA. They just-
yeah, or
I also
like
think it's probably like they don't have as many like franchises that people care about as much.
Right.
Like they have Call of Duty, which is a big thing, but it's not like a big thing in like the kind of circles that get shitty at publishers. You know, it's more
Yeah,
like
it's
a
not
mainstream
like a-
success.
it's
And,
not like a big thing in like video game discourse.
Right.
like,
right.
They have
Skylanders
They mostly
and-
kept like Blizzard, like they didn't interfere that much with Blizzard. Was what was seen to be happening, even if God knows if that's what actually happened, which apparently not. But
Yeah.
and it's only really like since they've started doing Destiny that people have been like, oh yeah, Activision sucked too. That's right.
That's a very good way to put it. Like, oh yeah, that's right. We remembered they suck all over again. Because remember, like Blizzard was. I mean, I think a lot of it. I think a lot of it is how like beloved Blizzard has been forever. You know. And
Well,
Blizzard is a
what
company
I'm
that's
guessing
gone
is-
from my favorite video game developer to I don't give a shit. Like,
well, here's what's
remember
gone
they
on
had
is
single
that
player games.
I mean they haven't made like a traditional strategy game in however long. Like the thing that's gone on with Blizzard is that I'm guessing, there's been tension between Blizzard and the Activision higher ups for a while, or so the rumor goes. And Mike Morhaime, the co-founder and president, stepped down late last year. So I'm guessing probably over tensions with Activision, or wanting to move on to something else, and sensing that Morhaime was on the way out. Now Activision has been able to be a little more pushy with Blizzard and kind of change them into the money-making machine they want Blizzard to be.
I think it's a probably very realistic look with what happened with what's going on. I mean, it's just there's a lot of money to be made. There's no doubt about it in the properties and the games that these studios tend to push out. But there's always somebody saying we can make more, they can do better, and it usually comes in some way in affecting the game in a bad way. So
That's how we got like the Diablo 3 real money auction house.
Yeah.
For instance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which, I mean, literally anybody who's played a video game ever could have told you that was a bad idea. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes with Destiny in particular, because in my mind, Bungie's never been a fiercely independent studio, guys. I mean, like, that's kind of scary to be out striking out on your own when you don't
Like,
have big old Microsoft behind you,
How
you
long
know,
has it
or
been since they were fucking independent? They put out like Marathon
20 years.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're developing for the Mac.
I mean,
Yeah.
they were technically independent during during their Destiny time. They just had a publishing deal. That's all it
Right,
was.
right.
But
I mean,
if you think about it,
Really
I
like
mean,
to see Bungie though is like them to put out a game that doesn't feel like Halo, because even Destiny, like just the walking around shooting, like the very basic mechanics, it feels like Halo. Like or
It
at least
feels like Halo with, if I can be a little insulting, it feels like Halo but with like less satisfying gunplay. I don't know. That's just me.
But like
Yeah.
it feels
in my
like
opinion,
Halo
Destiny 2,
divorced from
I
its
only
story.
played
There's so
I
much
only
story, I promise you.
Well, yeah, but I mean, even more so than how it was delivered in Halo. It's all backstory. I mean,
Yeah, it's a very,
it's
like,
delivered to you as walls of text.
I like reading
like
walls of text.
it's like a Dark Souls kind of story right now. But the other thing is, Bungie did get a big cash injection from a little company called NetEase. I'm sure.
Oh,
you've
yeah.
heard of them. So
That's the same company that's co-developing Diablo Immortal, by the way.
yeah, and they've dumped a lot of money in a lot of weird places. So a lot of people are assuming, hey, okay, we're going to see some kind of Destiny mobile, whatever. But also, it just seems like they're the kind of company that's just been throwing cash around in a lot of weird ways. So, I mean, we might see some kind of mobile spinoff, but who knows? It might just be a cash injection just to, translate to be allowed to be the official Chinese distributor of Destiny and Destiny 3 or whatever. So nobody really knows what that money's been for. But yeah.
Okay, but
Yes.
really, I just want them to make a sequel to Oni. Did anyone actually play that? I love that game.
I played
I've seen a bit of it being played, but I haven't played more than like 5 minutes of it because the first time I played it, I'd never really waspied before, so I didn't know how to control a character with a keyboard and a mouse at the same time. I was really
Also,
young when
it's
Oni
not
came out.
actually that good, but I really like it. But it's not good.
It's been so long.
It's a third-person shooter beat 'em up made before video games had figured out how, like in that PS2 era when they couldn't really make very good third-person shooters, and Devil May Cry hadn't come out yet, so they couldn't make good beat 'em ups either. So it's like the worst versions of those.
Oh, so it's like Max Payne. I'm kidding.
I don't think you have to walk a blood tightrope in Oni though.
That's true. So yeah, what I'll say about the Bungie Activision split, just as a summary, is I think it's kind of, at least in the short and medium term, it's good for Destiny players. They're going to get the meaty content and these puzzles and things like that Kappa was discussing, and less of the microtransaction-y nonsense. In the long term, there are some worries. Not all Destiny mistakes were due to Activision. Bungie has made some development mistakes of their own, and there's possibly less funds to go around for future development. But NetEase might bail them out with more and more cash. So we'll see. All right, moving on to our favorite segment, the best podcast segment, back on
Sonic
Popular Demand.
segment.
Project Sonic Watch 2019.
All right. Have fun, guys.
Kappa's just leaving the podcast forever. We're only going to talk about this for a couple of minutes. I just wanted to mention there's a new Sonic film coming out this year on the 8th of November.
So excited for this movie. Like, it looks fucking terrible.
It's gonna be so awful, but I'm so glad it's getting made because
Jim Carrey is Dr. Eggman.
why?
What the fuck? Danny DeVito is a person that exists. They realize this, right?
Wait, is Jaleel White playing Sonic or is it somebody else?
No, it's the fucking dude. Did you guys watch Parks and Recreation?
Yes.
Oh fuck,
It's
what's
Ben
his name?
Schwartz.
Yeah, Ben Schwartz from Parks and Recreation.
Okay, John Ralphio.
Yeah.
John Ralphio's Sonic. Okay, yeah, that's great. I think the only thing I want to mention is the poster, which is just a picture of Sonic's legs, and they're
It's one of
weirdly
them.
human and furry.
Yeah.
He's
yeah.
super shredded. He's like a really muscly baby.
It looks like fucking like Beast almost. That's what it looks like the blue muscular legs. He's
It's
fucking Beast. He's an X-Man.
It also kind of lines up, like, I guess, his trail. I don't know what that's supposed to be, but it kind of lines it up in a weird spot. It almost looks like he's peeing on the bridge, right? Is that the one you're talking about?
Oh yeah. No, that's totally Sonic semen. That's what that is.
The fans
Really
of
fucking-
Sonic.
Like, I'm just trying to actually bring it up on my computer to.
I've only seen it because I think Merve leaked it in earlier.
I didn't leak it. It's
Yeah, his.
it's
No, linked,
circulating.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so like his
With
legs,
Link, sorry.
like
yeah.
that doesn't fucking line up to a torso. Like right leg is way too far over. That's not how legs work.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Like-
he's just like super wide and has really thin legs. That's what
Yeah,
it is.
that's not how legs work. Oh, also fucking Cyclops is in it as Sonic's best friend, who's a cop.
Why is Sonic best friends with a cop?
Are they
I thought
humans?
Sonic was supposed to be woke. Come on. I see
If
so
they're
many...
humans, there's lots. Like, I mean, isn't this? Does Sonic have any real world connections at all? Is there like a?
Oh,
Yeah.
he made out with a human princess.
Yeah. What was that? Sonic 2006.
Yeah, Sonic.
Yeah,
Basically, Sonic Adventure fucking changed the whole setting, and he like is on Earth with real humans. And the beginning of that game is a bunch of like SWAT cops show up to try and fucking take
Oh,
out
yeah.
chaos. Like
So why is he friends with the cops now?
Sonic loves cops. He's a pig.
I mean, he is blue.
He's blue and red.
It's the real Blue Lives Matter right there.
Changes everything I've ever thought about Sonic.
Because people keep. I don't think of him as being like a cop lover because people keep.
I
Based
don't
on the
think
online
of him
circles I
as-
run, and people keep sharing like these woke Sonic memes with me, like Sonic quoting Marx and shit like that.
I didn't even. I
Sonic's a
legitimately
good
didn't.
Christian boy. Have you not seen the art?
I didn't know that he even interacted with people. I thought he was like animals and stuff, and trying to save the animals from the
Sonic
mean
fucks
Eggman.
people.
Yeah.
This Sonic fucks, man.
mean,
This Sonic
I
fucks.
guess
Look at his
so.
fucking legs. He fucks.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
that's a hell of a rabbit hole to go down when it comes to Sonic. But I mean, I personally punched out in the
By rabbit
Genesis
holes, you
era.
mean cream holes?
Yeah,
because
me
cream
too.
is the rabbit.
Yeah, the
Sorry, that came out
hedgehog
really
hole.
wrong. If you start talking about cream holes, if you're trying to make a rabbit joke, oh god.
Ugh.
Sorry.
Anyway, enough about cream holes. Wait, what games has Cream the Rabbit been in? Other than
She was in Sonic Advance. She was in Sonic Heroes. She was in Sonic Rush. She was in. I really love Sonic, and I know way too much about this. I started playing. That's one game.
this is
I
an
forgot
intervention,
about
Ben.
On my fucking what I played over the break. So Sonic Forces might be the best game ever made.
What? Sonic Force's best game ever made.
I got to make my furry Sonic Sona, and then I got a dramatic cutscene about my Sonic Sona's tragic backstory, followed up by Knuckles talking to Vector about how war is hell and no one wins.
What the hell is this franchise?
So
Sonic
no, man.
dies in the intro cutscene.
wow. So Sonic.
So it's like Mass Effect 2? Is that what this is now?
Basically, Sonic dies in the intro cutscene. Robotnik wins, takes over the world, and you're part of like a guerrilla freedom fighting force trying to like fight back against like this Dr. Robotnik dystopia.
With the help of cops. Okay.
Wow. So it's the Sonic version of the new Wolfenstein game. Sonic New Order.
It's like Hideo
Yeah,
Kojima takes
even
over
Wol-
Sonic.
Yeah.
I would love that. Fucking Hideo Kojima made a Sonic game. I was gonna say I would cream my pants with it. Enough about
Cream the
Death
Ridge.
Stranding.
So as
Okay.
batshit crazy as the fan art surrounding Sonic is, they still haven't got the actual, canon Sonic storyline beat.
Sonic canon is always always more wild than fucking Sonic fan art.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been away
At a
for a
certain
long
point,
time.
That Sonic from the old Sonic games shows up to, like, befriend Punished Tails, who's disappeared for 3 years.
Punished Tails.
Is that what he's actually called in the game?
No, that's just what I'm calling him, because he's, like, the dark, brooding Tails that's like, got into a huge depression after Sonic's death.
Emo Tails. Shoegazer
Okay.
Tails.
Okay, yeah, this is too much for me.
Video
What's with
games
Australians and
weren't
liking
art
Sonic
until
Forces?
Sonic Forces came out.
Sorry?
Video games weren't art till Sonic Forces came out.
Yeah, it's the Citizen Kane of gaming.
Oh, Charles Foster Sonic!
Wait,
Xanadu.
so, like, the dead Sonic is Rose. Okay, you know what? Enough Sonic talk. I can't do this anymore.
No,
guys.
fuck you! Neil McDonough was in the Sonic movie!
Neil McDonough is in the Sonic movie? Fucking
Apparently.
Damien Dark is Sonic?
Fucking unable to
Dum Dum
smile,
Dugan is
Neil
Sonic?
McDonough.
Okay, like, good for Neil McDonough. All the love and support in the world to him, but dude, that's all I can say.
Wait, fucking Max from Happy Endings is in this movie.
What's the guy? Adam Pally?
Yeah, Adam Pally is in the movie as an undisclosed role.
I hope it's like secretly that Ben Schwartz is like plays Sonic and then he dies, like it's the plot of Sonic Forces, and then Adam Pally voices your Sonic Soda. And it's like a choose your own adventure Sonic movie. It's like Bandersnatch. Okay. Enough Sonic talk. Let's move on to what the meat of this podcast was supposed to be, which is looking forward to 2019. So on the last episode, which came out at the start of this month being January, I don't know if this is actually going to come out in January, we discussed games we were looking forward to. What we're going to do today is we're going to talk about our predictions for the games industry in 2019. We're going to look inside our crystal balls and make crazy inferences about what we think is going to happen.
Did we look up our last year predictions yet, by any chance?
Did we make predictions last year?
I don't know. Now I'm scared.
I don't think we made any predictions. I think we just
All
kind
right,
of...
good. Now we got something to bring it up next year, though.
Yeah, how did we start last year?
I don't know.
Now, I mean, this is being recorded now, so if we fuck up, then our 8 listeners will, like, tell us.
Yeah, our asses are on the line now. Tell
You
you
guys
what.
had these the opposite. You made the same damn predictions you made last year. Probably is going to be the answer, but
Oh, we did make predictions. We made Australian predictions, because there were 2 Australians on that podcast.
nice.
Yeah, so I don't remember what our predictions were.
I'm assuming I was one of those Australians, right? I don't even remember recording the podcast.
Yeah, you were one of those Australians. You are kind of like a resident Australian, and we rotate out other Australians. But like all the Australians seem to like Sonic Forces, which is interesting.
That's because we have taste. We have class.
And kangaroos. Wait, can you make a kangaroo, Sona?
No, unfortunately. It's why Knuckles is the best one, because he's the Aussie.
Yeah, he's the echidna. Wait, why does he have an American accent then?
Because he's actually from fucking Emerald Island. Pay attention.
I thought they were on Earth with cops.
Yeah, and giant floating emerald islands that the echidnas live on to guard the Master Emerald. Fuck, it's like you never played Sonic Adventure. They have to guard the Master Emerald, and then Chaos lives inside the Master Emerald, but the Master Emerald got broken, and he killed all the echidnas, so there's no echidnas left except for Knuckles. But Knuckles has flashbacks to memories of Tikal, who was the last guardian of the Master Emerald, where... Yeah,
Wait,
you guys
there are no
don't get it.
echidnas left, so Knuckles can't fuck?
Well, he can fuck.
Knuckles
He's just not
fucks.
going to have
He
any
has
kids.
triple dicks.
Oh yeah, he does. He does have echidnas. Do have that split penis.
Can't
I
have
feel like the
kids.
I feel like the podcast has just gotten increasingly vulgar over the past few months. I have no idea why. I remember one prediction I did make last year was that like a couple of games would start selling themselves as having no microtransactions, like that would be a selling
sorry.
point.
Yeah, I remember that
My
one.
wife just had to shout out, echidnas actually have 4 prongs on their dicks, not 3, so we were wrong there.
Well, thank you to Ben's wife for correcting us on the number of prongs on an echidna's penis.
1 shaft, 4 prongs.
1 shaft, 4 prongs. That should be the episode
One
title.
shaft, 4 prongs, all party.
Versus the Skaven taint.
Oh God. It's been a
1
fucking weird
shaft, 4
podcast.
prongs in the cream hole.
We can't release this. We can't have people hearing us say these things. We're gonna release it anyway. Anyway,
Or we'll go to jail.
nobody's going to jail. They're like fictional characters. Who cares? They're all adults. It's cool. So
Cream is not, she's like 10.
okay, then everything we just said did not happen. We're in so much trouble. So I remember one prediction that I made last year was that a couple of games would start selling themselves as having only cosmetic microtransactions, or not having microtransactions at all. I think this was sort of borne out in that Anthem sold itself as having only cosmetic microtransactions, but no games ended up selling themselves as having 0 microtransactions. Except for, I guess, Lawbreakers, but that was a
Yeah.
That worked
2017
really
game.
well for
It was-
them.
It was part of the advertising for Battlefield 5, though, too. So.
Oh,
which-
really? Okay.
Yeah, which I think has very minimal microtransactions. I haven't played it in a while, but I think they're pretty minimal.
Okay, so that prediction I'd say was like, let's say 75% correct. I don't remember what other predictions I made because I don't have them listed here.
Like, 1 out of 2 games that did it was not a miserable failure, and you think one kind of did it, and that's 75%?
Okay, let's say...
You're way too fucking generous to yourself, man.
Fine, it's 43%. How about that?
That's better.
Fine. It's more correct than Radical Heights.
Oh, yeah.
God, that was 2018, wasn't it? I feel like
Yeah.
that was like 10 years ago.
I mean, it had the aesthetics of 20 years ago.
2018
30
was
years
a
ago.
long fucking year, hey.
30 years ago. Yeah. Yeah, I was younger at the start of 2018.
By like a year.
That's true. I was a year younger. It's so weird how time works like that. So what predictions? Since we can't figure out what we actually predicted last year, because I'm looking at our predictions for 2018 in our link dump, and all it says is content warning, jokes about drug abuse, and then a bunch of links. So don't do drugs, kids. What are your predictions, guys, for what's going to happen this year? And this time I'm actually going to write them down.
All right, good.
Well, I'm looking at my PSVR, and I'm thinking that thing is going to be a brick by the end of the year.
This is the year of VR. It's got to be.
You mean
Oh yeah, this is
by
the year
end
it's
of
going.
next year? Like,
I've-
is that not already?
It's hard not to think of a year that it wasn't the year of VR, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So,
I'm thinking that's going to be the death of that particular accessory. I think it's going to get connected.
yeah, I mean, because it's come and gone on PC a lot of times now, and I think a lot of people thought Oculus was going to be a lot better than it was. But then I think what happened was a little company called Facebook bought Oculus, and I think you pushed lots and lots of people out the door who might have had any interest in it, with the fact that Oculus now you have to have a Facebook account that ties into your Oculus account. Like, it's just weird to me. I have the Oculus app on my phone, my Samsung phone, for like viewing Samsung Gear VR.
Yeah.
And to even do that, you have to log through Facebook. It's just weird to me. It's like, why did you have to wall off that garden before the garden even had flowers in it?
Well, there's a
That's a metaphor.
there's a follow up to the HTC Vive. I think it's like a Vive Pro or something like that, which it's supposed to be super high resolution, better tracking, better kind of field of view or whatever. But
That's gonna be so expensive, though.
yeah,
right?
that was the thing. It's retailing for HTC. Hold on,
Are you like single finger typing that?
a little bit here.
I
Yeah,
think
so
the real thing that, if anything, is going to like kick off VR as like what people want it to be. Have you guys been looking at like the Oculus Go and that shit? Like the actual ones that you don't need to plug into a computer?
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
I've heard
Like,
of it. Yeah.
They're better than the fucking mobile phones. It's like kind of like it's not quite a fucking full computer experience, obviously, but it's like a completely self-contained thing that you just buy as its own device that you don't need anything else for, which I think is what VR needs. Like, because so far, like, everything you get with VR, it's like, okay, you get this headset, but you need to plug it into a computer. You need to have a computer with this kind of, like, hardware specs, all that kind of stuff. Or you get a PSVR, you need to have a PlayStation, you need to have the Move controls. You get, like, even the fucking Samsung Gear thing, you need to have a phone that's compatible with it, all that kind of shit.
Yeah,
and this will be the first one that's just, you pay, it's $300 and you get a headset that's all you need to do stuff with.
Yeah, I just want to like have a set of goggles and I stick like Nintendo Switch cartridges in it.
Yeah.
I don't want to just strap a Switch to my face and play that.
Well, isn't
That
fucking
that
Labo?
entire economy may be on its way out if you think about it.
Yeah.
The strapping stuff to your face economy.
No, the broader idea that you buy a game, you insert it into your console, and that's it.
It's
I mean, even the
spending all that
Switch is
money
now-
on gross flavor sprays.
I've said it here many times. I feel like what the original idea for the original Xbox is where we're all going. You own a library, and that's it. You know,
It's like
pull
Steam,
from the
but
library.
on consoles.
Well, that's fucking like I realized fucking that's one thing I think is going to get much bigger in the following year. The fucking Xbox Games Pass. Like, I was going through like I changed my bank card recently, so I have to update the bank card on my Games Pass thing, and it's like, hey, you're like can't play your Games Pass games at the moment because we tried to redo it. And I realized I bought 2 games this year for my Xbox.
Yep,
Like,
that's one of the 3 things I wrote down prediction wise. I said 100% more publishers are going to go the way of EA and Microsoft and have subscription services. Once
I
you
realized, like, I
I think
Assassin's
Ubisoft is
Creed-
the next one to do
Yep.
it.
Once you've had a subscription service, like it doesn't make sense to buy. It's like, remember when you started getting Netflix delivered to your house, and you're like, "What the fuck? Why did I ever go to Blockbuster?" Right?
Yeah, why would I buy, like, yeah, we've got Netflix. Why the fuck would I go buy a DVD?
Yeah,
Like,
and that's what's going on with me right now. And subscription services, it's like when
Oh, I still buy Blu-rays because I'm a weeb. And not all weeb things get streamed on Netflix.
Yeah, you and me both.
But
Yeah,
one day
yeah.
if they ever make
Crunchyroll.
Crunchyroll, yeah.
But Crunchyroll doesn't have everything. This is not going to be a weeb podcast, but the weeb sphere was completely like torn apart in 2018 because of brand deals
like
and stuff.
fucking username at the moment is some fucking weeb. So let's go on weeb shit.
Okay, just like a quick 30-second summary. Crunchyroll and Funimation ended their partnership. Crunchyroll ended up partnering with High Dive. Funimation is striking on its own, is no longer just focusing on dubs, is now starting to do subs. So now the sub sphere is split, and Amazon is licensing more stuff. Netflix has started licensing anime, and Hulu is starting to grab stuff that is signed a partnership with Funimation.
Oh.
All right, now we're done. Okay, back to video games.
But anyway, so what I'm saying is the subscription model, once you've been into it, once you've done it, it feels weird to like. I don't know. There's something about paying, $100 and getting every game, every DLC, not having to worry about, oh, well, do I buy Anthem this year or do I wait to see? Who cares? I've got the
there
EA
was
pass.
So many
Got to play Anthem.
there was
Yeah.
games that I was like, fuck, I don't actually know if I want to spend $80 on it, but like, I kind of want and then I'm like, oh yeah, they're on Games Pass. Fuck it.
Yeah. Darksiders 3 just popped up on EA's service like last week, and I was like,
Darksiders
wow.
on the EA one.
Yeah. So I mean, I was like, oh, I'll give
So
that a
is
shot.
the EA one getting other companies' games?
Yeah.
Oh,
And,
shit.
That's actually a really good deal.
Yeah, they've also got This Is the Police 2, which I was really interested in, so I tried that. I mean, like, it's weird because, like, once it's like Netflix. It's like, oh, shit, I might as well play this because I've got it, Let me tell you, I'll be opening it right now, and I'll just tell you, this is just recently what they've added. So every month they add new games, just like, what's the other one? Xbox does. But Xbox kind of has a lot more coming and going, where I feel like with EA, if it's an EA game, it's going to always be there, right? But I feel like they've been negotiating stuff with other publishers pretty routinely. So here's what's...
So it's kind of like PS Plus almost.
Exactly. So just this month, here's what's new on it. Sundered, Eldritch Edition, Beholder 2, Darksiders 3, Star Wars KOTOR, Star Wars KOTOR 2, Star Wars Level Assault, The Count Lucanor, Lego Movie video game, This Is the Police 2, Tyranny Franbo, Deponia, Hand of Fate, Hyperlight Drifter, Blackguards 2, Dungeons 3, The Invisible Hours, Souls Project, and Turmoil. That's a pretty
I think,
good.
One of those is an EA game.
Yeah, that's a lot of indie games too, man. I mean, that's a
that's
lot
a
of
really solid lineup.
Yeah, so I mean, when I'm telling, I'm not saying this to sell people. I'm like, why would you buy games anymore when you could just?
Well,
Yeah, like,
I mean, my problem with
I'm
that,
finding-
with
Sorry,
with that, with the concept of having a subscription service, I mean, it's great if everything remains available, but I mean, if it follows the Netflix model, when whatever bizarre rights, whoever owns the rights for this game, and it defaults or whatever, it changes hands or whatever, all of a sudden your game disappears from your.
I mean, that could
that
always
happens
technically
with
happen
normal games
on.
anyway.
Yeah,
I mean-
it can happen on Steam. There's been games
fucking-
pulled off of Steam.
But like
Marvel
when a
versus
game gets
Capcom
pulled
is
from
fucking
Steam,
nightmarish for
It gets when a game gets pulled from Steam, you can't buy it anymore, but it doesn't
But
get
it remains in
uninstalled
your
from your
library.
PC. Yeah.
it remains in your library. You can re-download it even if you go to another PC.
Right.
So Valve has at least been very good about that. They haven't like revoked licenses from people who bought them. But like with streaming, it's very easy to just like revoke
But
a
these aren't
license.
streaming. These are you download them.
Yeah, you download them. You add them to your account and download them. It's a lot more like, yeah,
Right, but then can you go to another PC and download it once it's been taken off? That's the issue.
Well, I don't know how it works, but like you add them to your account, so it's just like on Steam, like you can see your account, what's been if it's
Okay.
ever been in the vault, you can add it. And
Okay, so it doesn't get revoked.
I've never seen. I mean, I don't know. It's not.
Yeah,
it's
it may
not
be a moot
100
point.
years
It may
old.
not ever be a problem.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
mean,
they might-
if it never gets revoked, that's an amazing deal.
Yeah, but Microsoft's. I think Microsoft's their Microsoft first party games will always be in the Microsoft Pass.
Those first party games aren't going out.
Yeah, but I think the rest of theirs are more like it's going to be on there for a couple months and then it'll pop off. But I think
because
already
Games
they've-
Pass only has 100 games on at the time, so every
Mhm.
month they add more and they take some off.
yeah, and whereas the EA Access Vault right now it says right at the top 175 games to play whenever you want and as much as you want. So. But anyway, my prediction is going to be in a couple years, if not really starting this year. Like Merv saying, you're just going to buy the Uplay Pass, and you're going to be able to play Division 2 and Assassin's Creed, something that starts with an O, and you know what I mean. Like it'll just be that's how you buy. You just get a
Yeah.
pass, and then you.
And I will
Oh.
still spend $200 on an Assassin's Creed Collector's Edition because
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
fucking weak.
Collector's editions don't even come with the game anymore. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
statues and shit.
They do.
What are they called? Physical
In fact,
collector's
it's super
editions?
cool. I haven't opened my disc of Assassin's Creed Odyssey yet because when they sent out the collector's edition, they also just fucking sent me a download code so I could start it immediately.
That's pretty cool.
That's very nice of them. So what other predictions do you guys have?
Speaking of fucking Assassin's Creed and Ubisoft and everything, more shit is going to go away from Steam. We saw Ubisoft's Division isn't going to Steam. It's going to be exclusive to the Epic Store, and
Yep.
I imagine a lot more big AAA games are going to be leaving Steam because Steam sucks.
Merv will tell you, this has been the drum I've been beating for a while now. And I think last time I posted this on the Avocado, a lot of people kind of told me, no way in hell, Steam's way too big. It's way too big of a storefront. But I'm telling you, I'm seeing the exact same thing coming down the line. Exact same thing.
Yeah. To be clear, I don't think Steam is going away anytime soon. I
No,
still
no.
think they'll be the biggest player in the PC space, but a lot of publishers are going to do what Activision and EA have done, which is pull back to their own stores. And I think Ubisoft will increasingly just put stuff only on Uplay.
Well, because
Well,
what I was studying was
Ubisoft
specific.
are going to Epic. That's what they've already started doing.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Epic
So-
is gonna fucking hit fucking Steam hard, and if I don't know how many people follow a lot of the indie scene on Twitter and shit, they are leaving in droves from fucking Steam.
It's the
I mean,
percentage
that's
thing.
part of the reason, though, why indie games have become so popular on Nintendo Switch is because they're not selling super well on Steam because Steam's loaded with shit.
Yep.
Whereas if you buy a game on
changed
Switch,
the algorithm, so
Yeah.
a lot of indie Steam games will you can see their profit margin, little graph thing and everything, which I realized I was indicating with my hand and no one can see. And then it hits. October-
it.
It hits October 3rd when they change the algorithm, and it just flatlines to zero because
What-
they changed their discovery algorithm, and games just everyone stopped making money.
The little controversy I was talking about on the avocado that got people kind of, well, that I was saying the same thing as you. Steam's dead, but not dead, but you know what I mean. Like in terms of a lot of indie developers, because they basically Steam, in order to keep the big publishers there, basically created some more deals and said, look, we're not going to charge you guys the flat 30% we've been doing for everybody else. If you're an EA, if you're whatever, we're only going to charge you 20%. And all the indie developers were like, what the hell? You know, like
and then.
Yeah, it's
2 days later, Epic came out and were like, "Yeah, everyone, we're taking 18%."
Yeah, exactly. And these percentages are big deals because people are like, "Oh, well, you can't beat having your game in the Steam Marketplace." I'm like, I think you can for 30%. I mean, that's a cut. I mean, whether you're Call of Duty or whether you're Franbo, you know, that's a cut, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, even if it made financial sense for Valve to make that announcement, just the PR is so poor, right? To say, oh yeah, the big guys get the special treatment and the indie guys who need the help, we're fucking them over.
And it's the big guys who can make their own storefront. It's not, I mean, e-commerce is not that hard. People have figured it out now, you know? So, I don't know. I mean, I feel like we've talked a lot about what Valve is doing, what they're going to do and stuff like that. But, you know, when you've got subscription services out there, and man, I know people hate Origin. It's so much better. It's so much better than Steam. Steam just feels old. It feels slow. It doesn't do anything that I wanted it to do forever. Stuff like Greenlight was always poorly.
Like, as soon as For Honor goes on a different system, I'm uninstalling Steam.
Yeah.
That's literally the only thing I ever start up Steam for anymore.
It's weird.
I don't play games on Steam. Like, I don't play that many PC games anymore. It's weird.
Yeah.
And most of them I play are like, they're not necessarily through Steam. I'm trying to think how many games I like beat through Steam last year, and it used to be like I'd play 20 games through Steam a year, and last year was probably like 4 or 5.
Yeah, and it used to be. I think they gambled a lot on like a lot of weird social aspects that never really came to fruition, right? Like they like Steam has like
fruition. They're just full of
Nazis.
Well, I think what's kind of funny. So I just fired up my Steam because you guys had me curious. I fired up my Steam and hey, do you want a Valve hardware server? I'm like, no. I click cancel, and it did it anyway. Here's all your computer information. Here's everything we're gonna go ahead and send to Steam anyway. Because
too late. Yeah.
Too late, jackass.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, like,
Steam.
I've never wanted. I don't want to be a Steam hater. I just it's almost the exact example of like say like a network or like a Hollywood studio just being like, they're always gonna use us. They're always gonna need us. We're always gonna be number one. And then just kind of like all these other young up and comers, people are like, oh, you know what? They're doing pretty good stuff over there across the street too. So I don't know. I mean, so I think you take it to my 3. So I'm going to give my other one just before somebody else says it. And that is, I feel it. I feel it coming, this guys. I feel this is the year that we see a rebirth of the RTS. I feel like it's this year. We've been waiting for it, and it's coming. And I'm ready for RTSs to become a genre again. And what I'm thinking,
what games have been announced for this year?
Well, not a lot have been announced. That's why it's a real prediction. Like I'm thinking, but what I think a lot of people are seeing right now, if you go on a lot of like websites and boards and stuff, it's just kind of like bubbling beneath the surface. I've seen a lot of spots, and I'm thinking about the last time I saw this was right before the Kickstarter CRPG revival, where a lot of people are like, man, there's just not a lot of these games out there anymore, and I'm seeing more and more of that. Like there's not Command and Conquers, there's not Warcrafts, there's not Starcrafts, and people are like, this is a genre that I really liked and I really enjoyed, and I'm not seeing there's the Total War stuff, but that's more of a but you're not seeing many of the RTSs, and I think Total War dipped its toes in it with its Total War Britannia thing. So I feel like
Mike really liked that one.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people did too. And they're like, oh shit, that's right, RTS was a thing. So I'm thinking that this is going to be the year that maybe not developers, but maybe Kickstarter or something else starts rolling out where we start seeing more and more RTSs, because it seems like the cycle's due, and it's been a void now for 5 or 6 years that really no one stepped in. So hope I'm right there.
I mean, the nice thing is that, like they don't have to be big budget affairs. You can make a pretty nice looking RTS without blowing the bank on super fancy graphics.
Well, I mean, I'm reminded of of a game like Dune 2, the original, one of the first RTSs. That that game fits in a floppy disk. Mm-hmm. Beautiful game. It holds up today. I mean, there's a lot of the mechanics that got perfected as the years went by, but I mean, you can see the kind of the germ of the genre.
Yeah,
just
from way back.
Right. So
Yeah.
I mean, this.
Yeah, I'm going to dispute the fact that that's a beautiful game because I'm looking at screenshots now and that's a game.
I mean, it's an old game.
It's an old
Probably
game.
beautiful by the day's standards.
Well, when all you had was a Tandy 1000, it was pretty damn beautiful.
You know what is coming this year that I forgot? There's 2 games. Age of Empires 4. And then there's that weird World War I mech tank one.
The weird Russian one?
Oh, what the hell is it called?
It's that weird, like, Russian scenery with giant mechs in it.
Here it is. It's called Iron Harvest.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, it's really weird. It looks like Valkyria Chronicles, but yeah,
Like very steampunky.
very, very, very steampunky. Yeah.
Well, we are getting a new MechWarrior game.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah,
too. Everything old
Games
school.
I'm fucking geeked up about.
Yeah. So I'm hoping
Speaking of
that
series that have been dead for way too long.
Fucking joystick that you need to play those
Oh,
games
God.
with.
Well, that was
You're talking like that's like Steel
yeah,
Battalion.
that's Steel Battalion.
yeah.
Mech Warrior you can play on
No, I had
regular.
the big fancy because MechWarrior 2 and MechWarrior Mercenaries were my shit growing up.
Oh,
We had
yeah.
a big joystick that had like the throttle on and like you could use
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
little like hi hat thing to look
Yep,
around.
you had your hat. You had a twistable joystick so you could turn your
Yeah.
torso around.
Fucking a MechWarrior game on like keyboard shit. I don't even know how to do that.
So yeah, those are my predictions. Rebirth RTS streaming. More publishers go in the way of EA and Microsoft, and I think we've talked about this on a couple of different times now. I think streaming consoles are coming down the line.
I think they're
Rumored
a
that
starter. I gotta be
Xbox
honest.
like making a streaming console.
Yeah. I'm in the demo. I don't think this is an NDA. If there is, I'll delete this. But I'm in that demo for the Google operation or whatever it is, Project Stream,
Yeah,
where you play Assassin's Creed Odyssey, yeah, via your Chrome browser, and it's fantastic. I mean, it's 60 FPS and very console type, high-end console settings, but I mean, that's going to
It's
be more than
probably
enough
much
for
better than
most.
the Xbox One version,
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean,
which I have put like 70 hours into. So
you can feel that it's very frame locked and exactly designed to be what it is. As far as like, here's exactly what you're going to get from this game. There's no settings, there's no tweaks. This is just how this game runs. Deal with it. But it runs good, man. And I mean, if you were the option was, okay, I want to buy a $1,500 gaming PC, or can I just run it through Chrome on my laptop? Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see.
Take the cheaper option, right?
Yeah.
like the streaming shit I see, like you tie the streaming shit in with fucking like Games Pass services and everything, and that is just an absurd future. Like imagine like you look at that fucking list of like 100 games and you're just like, I want to play this one. And you just click on it and start playing it instantly. Like
Yeah, I mean, if those two economies can come together in a way that's economical and reliable for your average gamer,
That's a good
sure. But I don't know.
The issue is that like super fast internet is not available to everyone yet.
I'd say it's not available to a large majority. Just looking at my own crappy internet connection, and
like I'm lucky I live in a big city. I get super fast internet.
yeah, I live in a big city too. I still get crap for internet because
It's just going to be so one of those things where like, are they able to do it without ripping off us? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the
definitely not
ability the ability to rip people off, gamers especially, when you control the streaming and the service, it just seems like it's so prevalent. Like it'd be so easy to do. So that'd be the interesting thing.
Be a thing where like at the moment, a lot of people in games have like a kind of psychotic obsession with like graphics and fidelity and everything. But if like kids like, which is why like streaming has to be like all this fucking shit and blah 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 blah. But like you could do streaming on slower internet with lower quality settings, like with low like resolution and all that shit, And I think if kids grow up with that, because like if I'm like a 13-year-old, I fucking can't afford a console on my pocket money, but I can play it fucking through Chrome or whatever. You grow up with that as the standard, and it kind of like changes the whole expectation.
Yeah, and from a perspective of, I'm at the point now where I game, my wife games, and my kid does too, and I have to buy everything 3 times. It drives me crazy, you know. So if I could get to a point where, and I think companies want us to all be at this point where, okay, everybody in the family games. It's what we do. It's not weird. It's like everybody's sitting there watching TV, you know.
Yeah, like
if
we
you
have
want
switches in front of our computer, in
Right.
front of our TV.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that
like
I
sitting
don't,
in a room playing Mario Party together. It's
right.
yeah.
I mean, it's not that I don't think that this is going to become a reality. I just don't think that it's going to come together within the next year.
the streaming stuff. I mean, it might not. It might be whatever the next console, the actual console.
Oh, the next,
is.
the next console generation. We're talking no physical media. We're talking download only, and it's or download only, or download in a combination of, or a download or combination of download and streaming.
Yep, I
There's
agree.
no way they'll go fully that.
Well,
Fucking
I think next generation is the last generation of physical media.
I don't know, guys. I think it'll
2 generations from now is when we'll be download only.
No, 'cause
that's what I think.
The massive problem. There's no technical issue and there's no like societal issue with fucking getting to a full download thing. The problem is if they go, we're not selling physical games anymore. Every place that sells video games is not going to sell their console. They're going to be like, well, fuck you, fuck off, like, and no one will be able to.
Yeah, but then everybody's just going to go to Walmart and buy it, right?
Yeah.
Fuck GameStop. We don't need them anymore.
Well, I mean, GameStop is basically nerd hot topic right now. I don't know the last time you guys have been.
They
in one.
basically
I haven't
just
been in there in years.
So like half the store
is collectibles and like weird.
it's like game
t-shirts
paraphernalia.
I mean, good for them. That's the way the market's heading.
Yeah, absolutely. And
because nerds love their paraphernalia, right?
Yeah.
I mean, from a PC standpoint, when was the last? I can't even remember the last game I actually bought on a disc for my PC.
Yeah.
Did they even sell
For
Probably
me,
BioShock
that was-
Infinite.
anymore?
Probably.
I did
StarCraft
buy a
2.
game. Last game I bought on a disc was Dragon Age Inquisition because
Yeah.
it was 3 cents cheaper to buy the disc than
Last
to
game
buy
I
the
bought on a
download.
disc was fucking the Frost expansion for World of Warcraft.
Oh,
Holy shit!
That's a long time ago.
So that's PC games. Like I've bought, like almost never buy downloads for console games.
Sorry, I
Yep.
meant
But-
on PC.
Yeah, but the last PC game, I only own 2 PC games on disc. It's Alpha Protocol and Dragon Age Inquisition. That's it.
Man,
Like all the rest are downloads.
I have
Oh
a
god,
bunch
you're
of
really young, aren't
elderly
you?
games. Yeah, no kidding.
No, so
young.
I have a whole bunch of like CD games at my parents' place, but like ones I have here now that I live by myself and have been for like a decade. I only have 2 games on DVD.
'Cause, like, I remember the first game I bought that was on a CD, not a floppy disk. So.
I have. This is going to be weird. I have Battle for Middle Earth because I don't think they ever made that on anything else. I've got Rise of Legends. I've got World in Conflict. I've got Metroid Prime Trilogy on Wii for some reason. This is just on my shelf above it. Like these are only like DVD, CD games I even kept. I've gotten rid of all of them. And I think the only reason I have these ones is because these are ones that like are really rare, or hard to find.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's one of those
Yeah.
things where the less physical media, the better. Because man, I don't want to have this stuff in my house anymore. So-
Yeah, don't
yeah,
worry.
I
I'm sure
fucking ended
Metroid
up-
Prime Trilogy is coming to Switch. You can get rid of your Wii
I ended
copy.
up having to like go through. I had like bookshelves full of games and like taking them all out and just have like put them in CD walls because just it takes up so much fucking room.
Yeah. I think digital's where everybody's going to end up being. I feel bad for Canadians because they still got data cap, right? Is that still a thing
I
there
mean, I
through
don't live in
Rogers?
Canada right
Well, we do
now.
technically in the U.S. I mean, I do. It's just fortunately they bumped it high enough to where I'm not likely to ever hit it.
Yeah,
At least it not at my 30 megs per second or whatever ridiculously
Yeah,
hokey
I'm never
ass
gonna
speed
hit
of
Yeah,
it.
we have
the
the
cap.
good counter of we have data caps, but our internet isn't fast enough to ever reach it, even if you're
Yeah.
downloading.
Yeah, I
the
think
entire
Canada's
level.
one of the few spots where it's fast enough and easy to hit, and then they do charge you. So it's kind of like the worst of all worlds. But only from knowing a friend of mine, they don't have many options. I think there's only like
Oh yeah, I mean, I lived in Canada about 8 years ago, and yeah, my internet was shit.
it's like Rogers or nothing, right? Like that's what he tells me. But
You have Rogers or Bell.
yeah,
So you have a choice between essentially cable or DSL,
yeah,
and they both suck. and they're both awful, and the CRTC can. I was gonna say like lick my cream hole. Anyway, so any other predictions you guys have? So I guess Kappa, you said your predictions. Ben, you said yours.
Well, Ben said
Glitch,
half
you got
mine.
it?
I said the other ones.
Glitch, you got any predictions? Oh, Ben, you got one. Okay.
No, I was gonna say I only checked the thing like 5 minutes before we started, so I didn't actually think of any predictions.
That's fine. Glitch, you got any? Okay, so you predict that there will be a lot of farting at the Game
There'll be a whole lot of farting.
Sonic related.
Sonic related.
Sonic farts.
There's going to be
okay.
yeah.
There
There's
are
going
no
to be
new Sonic games this year except for a racing one. I just checked.
Does Sonic
There's a
still have
racing
his
game?
Does Sonic still have his kicky scarf?
Yeah.
Wait, is it kinky? Are we calling it? Is it a kinky
Kicky
scarf?
for
I mean,
Christ's
the Sonic
sake!
Boom one.
Oh, kicky.
Jeez.
Sorry, they said kinky. I was like, what?
Everything
the
with
fuck?
Sonic has to be a kink. I mean, yeah, it does.
It does. But are you talking about the stuff he has on Sonic
It's
Boom?
someone's
Because
It
that
is
shows
somewhere.
Because Sonic
Sorry,
Boom
what?
Are you talking about the scarf he had in Sonic Boom? Because that shows
Yeah,
his
yeah.
and his
Yeah,
is
whichever.
amazing.
Yeah,
Like
hipster
that
Sonic.
shows legitimately good.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
That
Okay,
there's this whole scene in that show where they talk about how like Tails buys some old retro video game, and they talk about how irritating the retro video games that obsess over them only ever being 2D are, and how they all complained after it went to 3D.
Okay, so I think Sonic's pretty good at trolling its fan base, which I kind of appreciate. I just like when a franchise knows that it's shit and just kind of steers it to the skid.
Sonic
Yeah,
is
but they
really
usually don't
weird
get
'cause they're,
movies
like,
made.
really good at that, and also they're probably like one of the most like they don't sue their fan base, which is nice. Like, because you've seen like the fucking Sonic fan game events and everything that like Sega sponsor, and like
Yeah,
we get actual game like the fucking what's that series of games that looks like the Freedom Planet. That's all like a Sonic fan game that started off and all that kind of stuff. Like they seem to be pretty cool with that.
yeah, they don't care as long as they're not selling it for profit, pretty much.
Well, I mean,
Also,
to
Sonic
their-
games are good. Fuck you all.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, to their credit, the latest 2D Sonic. What the hell is it called?
Sonic Mania.
Sonic Mania.
Yeah, Sonic Mania. Wasn't that?
That was supposed to be good.
Well, it's great. I got it for the Switch.
It's
Okay.
a group of it was Chris Whiteheel was the developer who basically remade the Sonic engine from scratch for Android and iOS and presented it to Sega like, can I port your games? And they're like, yeah, fuck it, why not? And then he hired a bunch of developers from Sage, which is the Sonic fan game contest they hold every year, which actually puts out amazing shit and you should look at. And hired a bunch of like sprite artists and level designers and everything from different things from there, and made fucking Sonic Mania.
I mean, if you're like I said, I kind of fell off the Sonic trolley when he made the move to 3D.
Sonic fell off his own trolley.
Yeah, we fell off our trolley. Yeah, Sonic. Yeah, me and Sonic both just completely rolled and forgot to tuck and shit.
Are you saying you're
but,
not a fan of the werehog?
I have no idea what we're talking about.
Missed out on that one.
He turns into a werewolf in one of the games, and it's called a werehog. And
Of course
there's
he
like
does.
3D God of War style levels, and they're awful.
I don't know what I expected, but okay.
But yeah, I mean, Sonic Mania. There's no werehog levels that I've encountered yet, although I haven't finished it. But
How
in
did we
terms
get
of
back on Sonic? What, did I fall in some kind of
everything
hole?
loops back to Sonic.
Oh no, this is a time loop. We're making the same predictions we made back in 2018.
No.
Speaking of how Sonic, I guess the Sonic Twitter account likes to screw with its.
That was supposed to be a segue into more predictions, not a segue into the Sonic Twitter account. But okay, let's go down this road.
Well, I
The
mean,
Sonic
okay,
Twitter
well, my
account.
prediction is the Sonic movie is going to suck, but at least they're having some fun with it, like we were talking about.
Okay, yeah, I share that prediction.
There's
It's
a-
going to be
My
hot
prediction is the
garbage.
Sonic movie will be the first good video game movie.
Second
Okay.
good after Super Mario Brothers with Bob Hoskins. Second good.
Fuck you. Fuck you in your fucking face. The only other movie acceptable for this discussion is Mortal Kombat or Dead or Alive.
They made a
There's a Dead or Alive movie?
There's a Dead or Alive movie which is not a good movie, but the perfect encapsulation of what Dead or Alive is because it's a bunch of really attractive women doing martial arts fights in their underwear.
Yeah, that pretty much nails Dead or Alive.
Okay, yeah.
Also,
Except for now, Dead or Alive has covered itself up, and now it doesn't have like lingerie fighting anymore.
Dead or
Also,
Modest.
But the
That-
best thing about the Dead or Alive movie is the chick from My Name is Earl plays Tina Armstrong.
I don't know that person's name. In any case, SNK Tag Team Heroines now is like the scantily clad lady fighter, and we like it as opposed to Dead or Alive, which has done the same thing.
Do we
Well, I hope it gets a
like
Neo Geo release.
SNK?
I mean, I don't think it was a very well received game, but everyone was like, "Yeah, my waifu fighter's coming out," and they were obsessing over it.
You could have big-titted Terry Bogard in that game.
That is a
I
thing.
think they added DLC for Iori, but they didn't actually do the Mr. Exit because you know there was a previous like SNK heroine style old lady fighter, right?
There was.
Yeah, it was like back when they still used sprites, and the final boss is Mrs. X in massive air quotes, and it's just Iori Yagami wearing a mask and a dress. Like,
Okay.
not a female version of Iori. It's Iori has dressed in drag to enter this contest.
Okay. Good to know. So yeah, I have a few predictions. My first prediction is that one major American AAA studio will unionize. It's not going to be like a trend, I don't think, but we'll see like the first sort of video game union this year.
I think it'll be Bungie.
Could be Bungie. But we'll see. I don't know how the rank and file there feels about the jobs there, or whether they have any job security. But as you know, one of the bigger and more profitable, I think probably one of the biggest American studios
I
right now,
reckon
and
Good chance
They could
of
probably
being
do it.
Insomniac.
Insomniac.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, they're not published around. I figure they can do that.
After all the horror stories revolving around Red Dead Redemption 2, I wouldn't mind seeing that happen to like Rockstar.
Yeah, but they're not
Yeah, but
American,
like
they're
2K
fucking
owns
Scottish.
Rockstar.
Oh,
Yeah, the
that's
only reason,
never gonna
the reason
happen.
I guess Bungie is because they're in Washington near Seattle. That's a pretty union friendly, place.
Yeah, I
But
can see that happening. So yeah, that's like my first prediction. My second prediction is that at least one high-profile console exclusive is just going to be a huge flop.
Last of
Like
Us
a huge
2.
critical flop. Sorry, which one?
Last of Us 2.
You think it's going to be a huge flop? My money's on Days Gone.
Days
I think
Gone,
it's just-
100%. Days
I
Gone
think it's gonna be a huge.
I don't think Days Gone can be a flop because I think there needs to be some anticipation for it first.
It's like,
Like, until
is there
you said
anybody
Days
who
Gone,
like?
I forgot that game existed.
Is there anybody who's like looking at Days Gone is like, yeah, that game is for me. Who's looking at that game and thinking
it
that?
feels like it's completely out of time. Like not like out of like
Remember
running.
when
Like,
Zombies were the big thing like 10 years ago?
yeah, exactly. It feels like it's a 10-year-old game that's just coming out. Like it's so
like,
weird
hey,
to me.
fuck, we're doing Dead Rising. After
Yeah.
Dead Rising, everyone's got sick of and it's failing.
That's the best way to describe it. I mean, like Dead Rising was only fun because it was really weird and goofy, but like, oh
They
man,
closed the studio that makes Dead Rising because no one gives a shit about that franchise anymore. If
yeah.
it
Well,
was
they
perfect
ran
time
that
to
into the
cross that
ground
with-
fast.
yeah, they
Dead
really
Rising
did.
1 and 2, great games. After that,
Well, Dead Rising
Yeah.
had a really I don't know if I call it, the mechanic drove me crazy, but that time limit you couldn't do it all type thing on it was kind of interesting. But
And then they
Yeah.
I
crowded
think
out
Days
that
Gone is
mini
more
game.
of an Days Gone is more of like a large open world game though. So it's like
That's what Dead
taking
Rising
a
ended up
trend
being
from
at the
like
end. Like,
3
Dead
or
Rising
4
was
years.
like a city.
Yeah. So Days Gone is like wilderness, like a huge map. So it's taking like the whole open world genre, which is I'd say at this point a 4 or 5 year old trend, and marrying it to zombies, which is an 8 or 9 year old trend.
yeah.
Don't
So,
forget,
Kappa's right.
It's
Feels like a
tying
game
into
out of
Sons
time.
of Anarchy, which finished 4 years ago. Like, remember bikers are cool?
Oh yeah, that was a thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot. I think that's a pretty safe bet that one's gonna flop. I think if I had to pick another one, man, there's probably a couple other ones out there. What was that? it won't be that From game, but what was that like samurai game that they showed at E3?
Ghost
It looked
of
just kind
Tsushima,
Sec-
the PlayStation exclusive one.
Yeah, where like they really didn't
Yeah.
show anything other than like
Ghost
really.
of Tsushima.
Yeah, that one I'm not sure what the hell's going on with that one. That one
I
looked
think
really weird.
they showed it off too early. The animations and stuff like that are very stiff right now.
Yeah.
I think they could possibly smooth it out, but if that's what they're putting out the door, it's gonna flop.
Yeah, I agree.
I watched that. Like, I rewatched that trailer a lot of times, and I think, like, from what I can tell, that game looks very basic. Like, if you're making a samurai game, you need to go all out on making the combat good. And as far as I can tell, it's just really basic, like 3-hit combo kind of things, which, like, I don't see myself caring about. You have Crackdown 3 on your list. I don't know if Xbox One games on the Games Pass can count as flops anymore, because people don't buy Xbox One games because they have the Games Pass. So I honestly don't know.
That's
how
why I
that
said
works.
critical flop, not.
Oh, critical.
Oh yeah, I could see it being that too.
Yeah.
Sea of Thieves is a good example. I mean, I heard tons of people play it. Like it's very popular again all of a sudden, and my guess is because it's on Game Pass now, right? So might as well check it out, you know. But yeah, it's interesting right
but
now.
Critics hated that game.
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
end.
Yeah, I think it could definitely be a critical flop.
And this is going to be like probably an unpopular opinion, and I might even end up enjoying it. But I would not be shocked if Yoshi's Crafted World ends up sucking.
Oh, it's good. I don't think there's any doubt about it. The Yoshi games suck. Like, I really like Yoshi's Island on the SNES. I think that's one of the best SNES games. But like, every single Yoshi game that's come out after the fucking Super Nintendo has not been good.
My guess, I think it's going to be bad even by Yoshi standards. Like
what was the last
Yoshi
one,
games
the
are for
Woolly
kids.
Woolly World has a beautiful aesthetic. The gameplay is kind of lacking.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely gorgeous. And I got bored of that game after.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? It's like a game that you can just like, kind of like I beat 2 worlds of it and realized like I haven't actually thought about what I'm doing once. It's just kind of like completely on autopilot. Like, they're not fun. Like, fucking...
I actually thought this game came out, to be honest with you.
No, it's not out yet. It got delayed. It was supposed to come out last year. And Nintendo games, when they get that long a delay, there's got to be something wrong with it. It's my guess. I don't think it's just like too simple. I'm like making allowance for kids games here. I think it's just actually a game where they haven't figured out the mechanics properly. They haven't figured out the level design properly, and that's why it's been delayed by like a year. And it's going to come out and still be a very confused and shitty game.
Wow, yeah. I mean,
Okay,
I think you're right.
Sorry, you go.
Well, I think you're right about with Nintendo, where it almost seems like they announce the game immediately comes out, and it's received however it's going to be received. I can't think of many Nintendo games getting delayed and being like stuck in development. Like it seems like by the time they announce it, it's out. You know.
The last one I can think of was like Twilight Princess. That got fucking delayed forever.
Yeah, but I mean it's weird for me to hear of a 2-year delay for a Nintendo game.
I think Twilight Princess got delayed more so it could be released on concurrently on the GameCube and the Wii.
Same with Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
right?
I mean they sat on those games more than anything else.
Yeah, whereas this Yoshi game seems like it's probably going through some sort of troubled development cycle.
So, the original trailer for Twilight Princess did show a completely different game, so they obviously did a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, but that
came out and it was well received.
I mean, I remember a trailer or some footage for the first HD Legend of Zelda turned out to be absolutely nothing like what we got.
Yeah.
No, that was the Space World demo. That wasn't actually a game. That was basically tech demos to show what the GameCube could handle. It's exactly the same as remember the Wii U one where he fights a spider?
Well, yeah, that's what I was talking about, the Wii U one.
Oh no, those were never supposed to be real games. Those are just tech demos to show what the console is capable of.
Yeah.
It's like that
never
Mario
ended up
128
happening.
fucking tech demo and that.
Yeah. So my guess is that Days Gone is going to be the game that sucks.
Oh yeah.
But I would not be surprised if I am not feeling positively about Ghost of Tsushima. It might be that they just need to clean up the animation and stuff, and then it'll, be a relatively polished, decently received game. But if I had to say,
next one, I just want to throw another prediction out.
yeah, throw more on the pile.
I think 2019 might be the year that Nintendo finally realizes stop letting Shigeru Miyamoto touch shit because he can't make good stuff anymore.
Whoa, man.
Ooh, hot take.
I mean, he made Star Fox
Let's
Zero.
get fucking spicy on this shit.
Could have just edited like nothing but like explosions for the next 30 seconds.
No, I mean, I haven't played Star Fox Zero, so maybe it's not my place to judge. But his last big release was Star Fox Zero, and that
Okay.
game was a disaster.
Let's say, as someone that did play Star Fox Zero all the way through and is a huge fan of the Star Fox franchise, that game's fucking trash. Like,
Well, what did he do on Odyssey? Anything?
He didn't do anything,
Okay.
really. He was not the lead designer or anything. He just, like, consulted. I think he has wisdom. I think, he can consult with...
upset. Like, okay, these are the things that currently are like what Shigeru Miyamoto's thing is. He will not let a new F-Zero game exist because he doesn't see the point of having an F-Zero game if they can't radically change the gameplay from what it is instead of just making a new good F-Zero game. Like, I don't fucking understand that. Star Fox Zero, his main thing is let's make the controls completely irritating to use by making it a gyro aiming game where you also have to constantly look at the screen because your ship's always moving, but you can only aim through the Wii U screen. And also there are stealth levels in a Star Fox game. Like,
Oh, okay, it's just like Batman Arkham Knight.
Was this
Like,
okay?
vehicular stealth.
Was this more like, hey, we've got to show something that shows the weird Wii U control scheme? We got to get something out with that more than. Yeah.
No, like that's his obsession with like every game he like gets involved with and everything. It has to show weird shit that the console can do rather than being a good game.
Yeah.
Like, fucking,
See, I'm glad they've backed off from that for the Switch. Like, the Switch can do weird shit, and sometimes
They haven't
it
backed
works
off
for,
of it
for
enough.
stuff like...
Uh.
Yeah, I mean, it does... Like, for stuff like Mario Party, I get it. Because Mario Party, who cares who wins, who loses, right? But they've mostly backed off from that and just let developers do whatever.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
hoping 2019
They
is the year that
haven't
Nintendo
fared well, though,
lays off
because-
of damn gimmicks in terms of controls and
like
that kind of
there's
shit.
still like fucking mandatory motion controls in a lot of games that like okay, even apart from being irritating for most people to use, it's like an accessibility issue that people with disabilities just can't fucking play Switch games mostly.
Right.
Because like the fucking
But, like, the only one I can think of, though, is Super Mario Odyssey.
Super Mario
no
Odyssey,
other games-
the fucking Pokemon game is all motion control shit.
Okay, I haven't played... Like, the only one I have that has mandatory motion controls is Super Mario Odyssey. All the rest, even, like, Nintendo first-party games, like, Mario Tennis Aces just lets you play it however the hell you want, which I appreciate. And, like, Xenoblade is no motion controls, things like that. But I understand that I'm only playing a subset of them.
I'm just thinking of like the insane world-shattering outcry had Nintendo tried to smush motion controls into something like Smash Brothers. I mean,
Yeah, because that's not going to work for a fighting game. Like, it works for a party game like Mario Party.
When have
Right.
they ever cared about that?
Well-
Tripping was a mechanic in Smash Bros. At one point. You just randomly fall over.
yeah, I remember that. Very
Yeah, I feel like... Okay, but, like, for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, they haven't, like...
well. I mean, they've
done that kind of
tried
shit.
motion controls with fighting games. That's what ARMS is.
ARMS is.
Although ARMS lets you play completely with the controllers as well. Like,
Yeah, you have the option. I mean, I'll give them credit. They're more than in the Wii days. They're at least
a lot of the games coming out now though are like it's a new generation of Nintendo developers coming up, and they're getting to like a senior enough position that they can be like, no, fuck off, let me make a good game. Stop, like, I doesn't need your fucking dumb motion control bullshit.
fucking hated the Wii.
Yeah, so it could be... That's why you're seeing all these more, like, innovative
Oh,
titles like
Splatoon,
Splatoon,
isn't
right?
that
Yeah.
fucking motion control aiming.
Splatoon, you have the option.
Ah, okay.
You can do it, motion control, you can... but I've heard that it actually works in Splatoon, but I've never played Splatoon, so I can't say for myself.
I mean, it works well enough in Breath of the Wild too.
Yeah, but, like, again, it's, like, non-mandatory motion
Right.
controls for Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
as well.
it's basically the only aspect of that game that is motion, quote unquote, motion control is the ability to aim, and actually it gives you a lot of precision, and it's something you can turn off.
Right, so my point, like,
And
Miyamoto
they're
doesn't
just
have...
ripping off the Vita.
Yeah, I mean, at the
And
end of the day, Miyamoto hasn't had that much input on Switch game development. Like, he's been kind of like a consultant, so like, younger developers go to him, and he has wisdom, but he's not like calling the shots on Switch game development for the
And
most
that's
part.
why Switch games have been good.
Yeah, I agree. that they've allowed developers to take ideas from elsewhere in the industry, not just the old masters,
Like,
and
I
they've
wanna
come
have a
up
look
with
at it.
really good
What
ideas.
was the last good game Shigeru Miyamoto lead directed? Is it fucking Ocarina?
Man,
Possibly. I'm not I mean, should I go look up his CV right now and see what?
I
I mean,
already am.
I wonder like if he's more of like a figurehead or like you know what I mean, like somebody
It's
that they
fucking
just say,
Ocarina.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm looking through what he's what he's been the supervising director for. Mario Party 10 was apparently terrible.
I bought it. It's not great.
I guess
So that was the last thing before Star Fox Zero
So-
that he was the lead on.
It looks like he produced Luigi's Mansion, and
He produces everything. He's
Well,
like
okay.
a lead producer at Nintendo. Like
Oh.
fucking
Yeah, I'm looking like what he was like the supervising director for.
Oh.
let me
Or like the supervisor.
let me ask this though. Like, I guess is there anything? Does the Switch need to give a reason why it exists anymore? Because like, remember, like that's how kind of like how the Wii U was for a while, right? And the Wii at first too. Like, he had to make games for it because nobody else really understood, right? But I don't think the Switch is as I'm not in a bad way. I'm just saying I don't think it's as revolutionary or as complicated a console where you need to make games that use it to justify its existence.
okay, but so say that was his goal to make games that use it to justify his existence. Did any of them? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
Specifically, not really.
I mean, the whole thing is about the Switch is you can take it on the go or you can play it at home. And apparently there's a great demand for it, and I think it's worked out pretty well for them. But that's not something that you can really sell with a specific game.
Yeah.
And there's no place for Shigeru Miyamoto to come in and say, okay, I'm going to showcase, this game where you can take the console out of the dock and do something with it and put it back in the dock and do something else. Like, there's no game that really would sell that.
right. Where I think
Right.
that you kind of needed that for Wii and Wii U. You know what I mean? Like, I think most people would get it by picking it up, but I don't like. Remember, like Waggle was like a big thing, like when we first started.
fucking
came out.
hate Waggle.
Yeah,
I honestly
fucking hate
don't
Waggle
think
so much.
Anything they made could have saved the Wii U, though.
yeah. Well, it came out way too fast. After
I mean,
the Wii
you know what
first
would have
came
saved the Wii U is a different fucking name.
out. Yeah,
That would have saved
Save
it.
the Wii U if the original announce trailer had told you it was a fucking game console.
yeah, that's very true. Like,
Yeah, if they
people
could
thought
have
it was
just
like
fucking called it the Wii 2.
yeah.
The Super Wii.
God damn. Yeah.
Also,
Like,
can you not call your consoles Wii's? Come on.
Like they
fucking
called
have
it, they call
someone
it like
to
a
speak-
fucking ambulance siren, like Wii U, Wii U, Wii U. That's what they called it.
Why can't you have someone that speaks English in your naming department so you don't name your game console Urine?
You know what was a real speaking of the Wii U, it was a real just a bee in my bonnet for the damn thing was the battery life of the tablet.
It's like 2 hours.
It's about 2 hours, give or take. But if you open that little sucker up, the battery is technically user replaceable. And if you open it up, the small battery that comes with it sits in kind of a vertical orientation, and there's a cutout for a larger battery that you could order from Nintendo that would bump the battery life of the tablet up. Yep, that's about the right reaction to have for that.
Fuck you,
goddamn-
Nintendo.
Exactly.
Fuck you. And I say that as somebody who likes the Switch. Fuck you, Nintendo.
Fuck you, Nintendo,
Oh
for
man,
putting that chintzy ass little dinky battery on
I'm
it.
gonna be running out of bomb effects for this.
Yeah. Bleep you.
I mean, like
The
on the
Switch
last
is
podcast,
the perfect
we just
V2,
said
that's what I'm
Shenmue
saying.
3 was gonna fucking suck.
yeah.
So,
Oh,
Is that
Um,
even controversial?
no,
That
it is
game
not. It really
sucks.
can't be at this point.
I mean, I also said that people who contributed to the Kickstarter were stupid. So,
Also, I don't think very controversial. That game's a scam. Like,
I wonder if they're like sitting like I would really love to know like if people who contributed like if they're like God I was an idiot like the game was gonna come out
do you want me
regardless
to
right
argue my mad obsessed Shenmue friend that donated $100? Because
Yes.
I'll be like, hey Tim, how do you feel about the fucking Shenmue game now?
yeah, the way I see it is, I could donate $100 to Shenmue, or I could just donate $100 to fucking like AGDQ, and they'll spend it on A, entertaining me, like actually entertaining me, and B, it'll actually go to a good cause instead of fucking Sony's wallet.
You
Right,
can
I mean,
buy
you
the
could
game.
You
It's
could
not,
set
like,
$100 on
free
fire and it
game.
would give you heat for a certain amount of time.
Like, you take the $100 and you go to the second-hand like department of any game store and buy 3 different Yakuza games. Like,
when did Shenmue 3? When was that? Was that 2017 E3 or
Yeah.
2016?
I think it was 2016 E3.
Jeez. And is there even like a gameplay video out yet?
oh, have you not seen it?
No, I haven't.
It's really
Wait,
shitty looking.
No, I don't think it was gameplay. The one with the terrifying faces.
Oh, God.
Oh yeah, it's like the art style of like 15 fucking years ago.
Like, they have faces. Like, they've got like it's all like super realistic lighting and texturing and everything with like completely static anime faces. It's
Awesome.
the most horrific shit.
It looks like you're playing like the original Yakuza 1.
Oh,
Like, not
no. Where did all
No,
that money
I
go?
would say something. I played the original Yakuza 1 not that long ago with the fucking dub. It looks better.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it looks like. Okay, do you guys remember a few years ago when they first showed off footage of Roller Coaster Tycoon World, and it looked worse than Roller Coaster Tycoon 3?
Yes. And it was like
That's the
ended
same
up
thing we're
being
talking
worse.
about here.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that.
No, you know that
The exact same thing.
You know
Here.
that really creepy Japanese cosplay thing where they have like the full face anime masks that don't move?
Yeah.
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 That's what Shenmue looks like.
Man.
Oh, it's like the original Perfect Dark where the mouths don't move, so you can't tell when people are talking.
Ugh.
Because that would be fucking hilarious. If they do like N64 style faces,
Like,
I would fucking buy that shit right away.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's gonna be a fucking train wreck. So I have one last prediction, which is that.
Oh, this last
So-
prediction's wrong, by the way.
Oh, you think this prediction's wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, fuck you. So I think Netflix is going to announce more choose your own adventure content because Bandersnatch is a video game.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's a hot take apparently, and rival streaming services are going to try to get their own kind of choose your own adventure.
A really good one.
movies
You
made
know
up.
what it'll be? It'll be whatever's left to Telltale. Because they're still doing Minecraft stories on
Well, that's
Netflix,
on
Yeah.
there
right?
at the moment.
Yeah.
That is on Netflix,
Right.
so they're going to make more of that shit.
Yep, I think you're
For Netflix.
100%
My
on that one.
point about this, though, is, like, Netflix have been doing this shit for, like, 2 years. Like, them announcing more stuff is, like, inevitable. Like, there was a fucking...
Yeah, but rival streaming services are also going to get on it. That's part of the prediction.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we don't have rival streaming services in Australia, so that doesn't count.
Yeah, well, there are more countries in the world than Australia, Ben.
Time to move. Welcome to the world
Yeah.
of Hulu.
Fuck Hulu.
Yeah.
Those guys suck.
It doesn't exist. Fuck it.
Yeah. Oh, but on like the second part of this prediction is that TV critics still won't understand that FMV games have been a thing for decades. So they're still going to talk about this whole thing like it's a completely new phenomenon.
Have you
And I'm
guys
still
seen
gonna
this
laugh.
amazing game or this amazing show on Netflix? It's called Mad Dog McCree. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Pretty much. That's what's
Night Trap show.
Oh, man.
They're just going to put Night Trap up on Netflix and pretend it's new.
Yeah. I
And
thought what's
TV
her
critics
face
are going to
died.
lose their fucking shit.
It's like... the advertising is like, yeah, it's like... started like a retro horror movie.
That'd be
Oh
interesting.
wow! And then I was able to click on my own choice. Like, oh my god! I still the reaction to Bandersnatch has been hilarious.
Yeah,
for me
it's
to
a little
watch.
fun.
I actually haven't played Bandersnatch yet. I should at some point.
The
you
reaction
guys-
to Bandersnatch is really confusing me, though, because, like, they've had Choose Your Own Adventure shit on Netflix
Yeah.
for years. Like,
And it's not-
there was a fucking
it's not an
Puss in
incredibly
Boots
new
episode
idea.
in, like, 2016.
I think it's because they got like the Black Mirror branding on it, and everybody watches Black Mirror.
Are you telling
So-
me the Stretch Armstrong brand is not as strong as Black Mirror?
Yeah.
Not. I mean, I
Since
know I've only heard the
1974.
name Stretch Armstrong. I don't know what it is.
If you want to know how prevalent all that is right now, this honest to God happened. I took my kid to the library a couple weeks back, and he asked the librarian for a Choose Your Own Adventure book. And she had no idea what he was talking about, like none. Like she thought he made it up. I
I
was
weep
like,
for the future.
We've got to find a different library.
Yeah, no kidding.
How do you not know that this is a
I
thing?
grew up reading that
Yeah.
shit. Like that was like the only books they had in our classroom when I was in grade 3.
Man, I'm so excited for a new generation of kids to be massively disappointed by how crap every Choose Your Own Adventure is.
Well, now it'll just be Choose Your Own Adventure Netflixes, you know?
Turn to page
Yeah.
225.
So-
Oh, I died. All right, shit.
Yeah, you always have to keep your finger like 3 pages, like on 3 pages in the past, because
Yep.
every second decision ends up with you dying.
That's one of the problems I had with Bandersnatch, to be honest. There was too many it just ends now. Like, you should have let me get a little bit further. I think I got an ending, like, literally the third choice I made. That's not very fun, you know? Like,
So is Bandersnatch closer to something like Dragon's Lair than like a Choose Your Own Adventure story, where like if you fuck up once, you end up dead horribly, and then
yeah,
I'd say
basically.
it's probably more like. Do you guys remember a couple years ago this game called Late Shift came out?
Yeah.
It's probably a little bit more like that. It's like a full-fledged, fully filmed FMV game.
Yeah.
But it is an FMV game. It's a video game. Deal with it.
It has
guys.
it has no problems getting you to endings really quickly, and some are better thought out than others, but I think a lot of it is just to be more like, well, look what you chose. You chose the wrong thing, and even though there's no rationale or reason behind it, it just wants to give you a different ending, right? Like,
Okay, it's like a David Cage game
Yeah.
where like you can get an early ending if you accidentally mix alcohol and pills. You just die instantly.
yeah,
like in Curse of Monkey Island.
like one of the
There's alcohol and pills in Curse of Monkey Island.
Yep, you can actually die in Curse of Monkey Island. You just don't stay dead.
one of,
Oh, so you just like run around the rest of the game as like Guybrush's ghost?
Well, no, you just don't stay dead.
Okay. Good to know.
I don't want to spoil it or nothing for the.
I'll spoil it all.
20-plus-year-old game.
Because you were stuck in a fucking theme park.
Oh yeah,
That's
Okay.
the end of Curse
Good
of
to
Monkey
know.
Island, by the
That's
way. You
it.
have a bunch of little kids playing in a theme park.
well that's the end of Secret of Monkey Island.
Oh, shit, wrong game. I gotta mix it
The,
up.
the
yeah.
second one, the Curse of Monkey Island was the third one, and that's where you can actually mix alcohol and like downers and die horribly, but you get better.
I choose to believe that that's what Fahrenheit was referencing. It was actually a stealth Curse of Monkey Island reference, and David Cage is cleverer than we.
oh
believe.
man,
I hope so.
You're making a leap there, bud.
I really
That's true.
believe he's cleverer than I think.
Like the thing with David Cage is that he's occasionally said things that are correct, but because he's fucked up so much and says so many stupid things, nobody believes him when he says correct things.
Yeah, it kind of feels like he has like a PR guy, and then like the rest is him. Like either, you know what I mean? Like he says something right, and you're like, oh, okay. And then you see, you're like, wait, no, that's nothing like what you talked about. Like Detroit Become Human sounded like a totally different game when you heard him talk about it, didn't it? Like if you go back,
I didn't play it.
Go back,
because
if you-
I
well, I mean,
yeah.
just even if you've heard of it, if you go back and look at like some of his older interviews and then what actually came out, it's just like, yeah, it's night and day. He's a guy who's more conceptual than almost anybody.
So he's the Molyneux. of
Yeah,
Choose
I
Your
was
Own
about to
Yeah.
say the
games.
same thing.
Yeah,
Although Molyneux is literally a con man, so, like...
nobody's.
I wouldn't go that far. I think
Is the
David
comment
Cage
as
is-
bad as our most hated enemy on the podcast, who's also in deep legal
Oh,
trouble?
that news came out. Yeah. So Randy Pitchford is getting sued for $12 million
And
because
like
apparently
his
he's
wording
being
for it.
accused of embezzling money
Ooh.
from Gearbox, or like embezzling to a shell company that he owned. And on top of that, there are now accusations of pedophilia.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's going to be really ugly. And, like, this is probably a really horrible thing to say, but, and these kinds of things, whenever, like, accusations of pedophilia start flying, that's when I know it's time for me to tune out, because no good
It's
can come
not fun
from me.
anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, no good can come from me looking at this any
So if
closer.
they do take him down, I think we're going to take credit, right, as our number one enemy.
Like, I don't even want to make jokes about it anymore. Like, if he's actually...
Well, if it makes
I
me
mean-
feel better, I think a lot of that is more about his lawsuit with his former, what was he, like his intern or something?
Former lawyer, or, like, legal advisor to Gearbox, something like that.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of like, the financial stuff might be true, but a lot of this stuff is just kind of like him being out there being slandered. So I don't know how true that is, but if it makes you...
I'm not. I don't want to say I don't believe it, but I'm much more inclined to, let's say, put stock in the accusations of embezzlement, because that sounds like something Randy Pitchford
Yeah.
would do.
Okay, I
Yeah.
just want
Is
to say,
embezzle
though,
shit.
Randy Pitchford was on a podcast talking about how his obsession with barely legal porn stars. So, like,
Jesus.
that's his
Not a good look,
word.
Randy.
Wait, what the fuck? When did this happen?
Okay, so you know how there was the whole fucking thumb drive that got left with all the porn, right? No?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, one of the whole things that came out about this is there was a thumb drive that got left that had a whole bunch of information about upcoming Gearbox projects on it, and also a whole bunch of Randy Pitchford's hardcore porn.
Yeah.
And
Okay, great.
he was on a podcast talking about it, like Randy Pitchford himself, talking about how he was watching this cam girl doing squirting porn, and she, like, advertises herself as barely legal, only just turned 18. And so, like, that's shit from his own mouth. That's not an accusation. That's what he's prepared to admit on a podcast. So, like...
Do you know where he left it at? The best part of all this? Do you know where he left it at?
No?
A medieval times. It's just such a Randy picture. I'm serious. I'm serious.
Oh my god.
It's just such a Randy Pitchford thing. Like, of course he... Yeah.
Why? Oh god. So, yeah, maybe it's true. I just question the character of someone who is the CEO of a major developer, one of the largest independent studios in the United States, very openly discussing his pornographic preferences on a podcast.
Yeah.
It seems like something.
Do you not remember that Randy Pitchford made the fucking subreddit for, I already forgot the name of the game's porn? What was that game they made after Borderlands 2 that everyone was disappointed wasn't
Battleborn?
Yeah. Randy Pitchford ran the Battleborn porn subreddit.
Battleborn.
Is it called Battle Porn? Please tell me it's called Battle Porn.
That was something that was rumored for a while, was that one of the big things he thought was the reason that Overwatch succeeded was because of all, like, the Rule 34 Overwatch stuff. So
I think that gets the causality the wrong way
Right,
around.
yeah.
People make porn of stuff they
one
like.
begets the other. It's not the other way around.
So, like,
It's not like if
mean,
you.
one begets
It's
the
not
other,
like there's
obviously.
like It's not like there's like a Jenny McCarthy video game out there, right?
But this was like one of those things where like I remember like in the back like hearing like he was upset that there wasn't as much of that with Battleborn. And so he created a subreddit. I think it was called like something like, and like the rumor was like he was trying to get people like on DeviantArt to make more of this, even though people are like no one knows who the fucking characters are.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I thought it was kind of funny to hear that was his reason that he thinks it failed, just because there wasn't enough people making dirty pictures of the characters in it. But it fits so much his profile, doesn't it? I mean, it's just, yeah.
The fucking first thing I ever remember
I
hearing
literally
about it was
cannot
that
name.
he,
Sorry, go ahead.
like, the fucking entire Borderlands art style is completely stolen off of a student art project without credit.
Oh yeah, that's true. That as well.
Code Hunters, I think the name of the short is.
Yes, that's it.
Great short, by the way. You guys should watch it and be like, "Wow!" Like they ripped this off.
That they did. So yeah, in 2019, I predict that Randy Pitchford will
Go to
continue
jail.
to suck. Go to jail. Okay,
Nailed it.
maybe. That's a bold prediction. I mean, let's be real. Do you really he's going to go to jail? Think how
Yeah,
long it
go
took
to
us
jail.
to fucking nail R.
Jail.
Kelly for shit, right? We've known that R. Kelly's a fucking creepazoid for like a decade, and you know it took us until we made a 6-part documentary series about him for people to start like canceling R. Kelly. It's gonna take something to cancel Randy Pitchford, considering
Although
how much
I don't think
shit he's
Randy
put out there.
Pitchford is as popular as R. Kelly, and like people give a shit. Like 90% of the time you hear someone talking about Randy Pitchford, it's like, man, fuck Randy Pitchford.
I mean, 90% of the time you hear people talk about Randy Pitchford, you specifically is on this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Poor guy.
But,
Not really.
So Randy
Not really.
Defense Squad.
no, that guy's fucking rich. If he's embezzling $12 million from his company, that guy's rich as shit. I don't give a shit what happens to him. In any case, do you guys have any more predictions about 2019 not related to Randy Pitchford?
I think
I
we
was
nailed
actually
all
going
mine.
to say something, but then I got distracted about Randy Pitchford, so
Yeah.
I forget.
I'm still not going to forget that motherfucker for Colonial Marines. God.
Yeah.
Yeah, that asshole. I think this has been our most Pitchford heavy episode since like the second episode of this podcast. Yeah.
Randy Pitchford Watch 2019.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Oh,
Play
my
Sonic anytime.
one that I was gonna say. Two things. I reckon Platinum are finally gonna be successful this year.
Ooh.
I mean, they were
Please?
successal in 2017 with Nier Automata, which has
They
now
were
sold about
successful
3.5 million
as,
copies.
Like they were successful as a subsidiary of Square, into like no, it's and making another franchise. Bayonetta 3 will be the first time it's like their own kind of thing. And I just want them to be successful. Come on, I want them to be successful enough that they can publish their own games without relying on
Like other IPs. So they've got that Babylon game upcoming, and nobody really knows what that's all about. And they've also got the Grand Blue Fantasy game,
And-
which looks pretty good.
Okay, my second prediction was this is going to be the year that the West starts giving a shit about Grand Blue Fantasy, because we got that and the Arc System Works fighting game coming out, and they both look pretty good. And like,
Yeah, but the anime is shit. So-
I want to go because I actually sat down and watched the entire Grand Blue Fantasy anime, and I followed it up with watching the Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works anime, and I didn't like the Grand Blue Fantasy anime, but watching Fate Stay Night has made me go back and reconsider that. Man, it's not as bad as Fate Stay Night.
Does that have anything to do? Well, I mean, is that at least?
That's a little bit like saying that, you know, I ate a rotten peach, and it wasn't as bad as, like,
Okay, except-
drinking a gallon of bleach.
Except Fate Stay Night is massively successful in the West, and everyone loves it. So if people can fucking
Yeah, and
love
more
Fate-
people buy bleach than peaches.
No,
So-
but like, if Fate Stay Night can be successful and have a fan base and have lots of people caring about it, and my good friends telling me it's good because they're liars and have no taste, fuck you, Steve.
Steve.
So you've been ripping on Steve, on Tim. Any more white boys you want to rip on?
Like, fuck Leon. No, like, I reckon if that's a show and series and everything, they can get the fan base that it has. I think an Arc System Works fighting game, a Platinum RPG, and apparently Season 2 of the anime is coming out, is going to be enough to, like, get people to care, maybe. I don't know. Fucking...
I mean,
It's
I will
annoying.
watch the anime so I can understand the video game that I know is going to be good.
That
I will
was
subject myself to
Okay,
6 hours of shit.
That was the entire reason I watched the anime, and my takeaway from it was like, man, maybe this video game won't actually be good.
Oh god, things,
like-
things I do for my interests.
Because, like, oh my god. Okay, this is how, like, you know how you can, like, see a character design, and you've played enough JRPGs, you can be like, I know who that character's going to be. That's every single character. There's no... like, the main character, his personality is, I'm a JRPG protagonist.
So he's like... I'm trying to think, he's like... kind of like Sore from Tales of Zestiria? Is that what I should be thinking of?
From which one? Tales of...
Did you play Tales of Zestiria?
No.
Never mind then. Because
But
my
yeah,
reference
exactly
point
like
is
that.
like...
Have you played Final Fantasy V?
I've not played Final Fantasy. I've not played a single Final Fantasy game.
Wow, even I played a Final
Yeah.
Fantasy game.
It's a shocker, I know.
Okay, I don't know how I can explain this to you without using Final Fantasy terms because it relies so heavily on we're just ripping off Final Fantasy.
Okay, so I'll just keep it in mind as like a rip-off of Final Fantasy. I can deal with
I
it.
guess actually more Tails. Like, he's the main protagonist. He's like, oh yeah, I can do it. I can save the world. Then there's like the blue-haired wayfish chick that's like got super hardcore magic and everything, but it's all like, I've never been outside the world before. Then there's like the knight chick who's all like, I'm the stereotypical stern knight character. And then there's like the roguish dude with like a 5 o'clock shadow who's like, I'm the 5 o'clock shadow rogue character. And it's just like, okay,
Yeah, you're describing Tales of Zestiria right now,
the
pretty
magic
much.
chick's first thing that she does to show that she has dope-ass magic is she literally summons Behemoth. Like, the dragon Behemoth from Final Fantasy. who's named Behemoth. Like,
Okay, this sounds like something that is going to be a huge waste of my time.
this
Like
last
most.
episode.
Okay, spoiler alert.
No, it doesn't. It has nothing to do with the actual main plot, because in the Grand Blue Fantasy mobile game, you can either choose to play a male or female protagonist. The last episode is then rewinds to the beginning of the show and does like an alternate universe take on the story where it was a female protagonist. And at first I'm like, this is a really cool idea. Until it got 10 minutes in the episode where I realized they're doing this so they can have the bikini episode, the bikini beach episode. And,
Yep, I've heard about this.
And it's just... Fuck you.
Yep.
Fuck you, show. Fuck you.
All right, guys.
Well, that's how you got your swimsuit DLC in the end.
I think we made some
so-
predictions, though.
I think we brought it full circle. I think it's time to call this episode to a close. If you'd like to keep up to date with the podcast, we have a website. It's called avocadogamescast.wordpress.com. We put every episode up there. Every episode we've recorded so far is up there, so you can go download it from there. There's also a Linkdump that fact checks all our blathering, because we say a lot of stupid shit on this podcast, as I'm sure you've noticed by listening to it. You can also subscribe to us on iTunes or Google Play Music. Just search for Avocado Gamescast. And also make sure that you check out the community that spawned this podcast, The Avocado, at the-avocado.org. Don't actually type out the word hyphen. I don't know why you would do that. Anyway, anything else you guys wanted to mention non-Grand Blue Fantasy related before we call this podcast to a close?
No, another good one, bud.
All right, we did it.
Woo! Happy New
The
Year!
movie, the video game.
Oh yeah,
it is.
the Mega Man
Happy...
blocks up.
Happy Mega Man blocks up.
Yeah.
What?
They just uploaded.
We're talking about
Blocks
AGDQ,
well,
which is happening right now.
Oh, okay.
All right, so... or it got uploaded to YouTube.
Yeah.
You know what? Doesn't matter, because AGDQ will be over by the time everybody listens to this. So make sure that you get your donations ready for SGDQ, which is happening this summer, benefiting Doctors Without Borders. Another great cause.
Are those
all
sucky
right,
games
guys.
done quick?
Summer games
Summer.
done quick.
Oh,
They
summer.
actually have... So,
Because I was
for,
maybe hoping to...
so they do have like an awful games done quick block every GDQ, which is just like 3 hours of really shitty short games.
There's
that they
apparently
speedrun.
a Saturn game they played this year, which is like, there were like game developers I follow on Twitter, like, I'm canceling all my projects and only making clones of this game from now on.
That's incredible. All right, guys. Thank you folks for being on the podcast. I apologize for all the awful things we said. But
I
don't worry,
apologize.
I
For
stand by
nothing.
everything I said.
Everything we said on this podcast was said at Ben's behest. So if you have any complaints about jokes we made about rabbit holes,
Sound
talk to
Australia.
Ben.
Be at Shamrock Ben on Twitter.
All right, yeah. Just tweet at him about how offended you were and how you're gonna call the PTC, which has a lot of sway in Australia, apparently.
What the fuck?
All right, guys.
All right, take care, guys.
Take care.
Bye now. Bye, everybody.
Bye.